by Spencer. Darrell Spencer running it back, gets across the 20 to about the 23-yard line. And there, the Hurricanes go on offense, 1st and 10. To give you an idea how productive they are throwing it, this year the Redskins led the NFL with 33 touchdown passes in 16 games. Steve Walsh in Miami and his backup have combined for 35 touchdown passes in just 11 games. Walsh has thrown for 29. Cleveland Gary's his top receiver, 57 catches this year. Dawkins and Hill, the wideouts, their top receiver. Andre Brown was suspended for this game. No reason was given. Swing pass. Cleveland Gary. Nebraska had a shot at him, and on 1st down, Gary breaks the crust and gets to about the 26-yard line. With a nose tackle, Lawrence Pete ran him down for the Huskers. Cleveland Gary, a transfer from Georgia. There is the front three of Nebraska. Pete's had a big year. Kent Wells, the pro scouts think could be a first-rounder a year hence. He's a junior. Roderick Thomas is the key. He'll be a top 5 pick in the NFL. Consensus All-American. Secondary, seen a lot of balls thrown at him this year. The Big 8 does pass. And Walsh will be pitching a lot tonight. Right now he puts it up on 2nd and 6. An out pattern. Taken down. As Lorenzo Hicks was covering on the play. And Pee Wee Smith, number 18, is the man who received the ball. He's not that small, Pee Wee Trump, 6'1", 180.
He's a receiver that is new to the system, still learning what's going on for the University of Miami. But the Miami offense is a 3- and 5-step drop offense. They try to go with the timing pass. They try very hard just to get the ball out there and hope somebody breaks the tackle. And there you see a hand on the face mask, no flag, but it brings up about a 3rd down and 4.
3rd and 4 it is. Miami with split backs. Walsh, well protected, stands in, fires a strike to Chudzinski, his tight end. A sure-handed player from Toledo, Ohio, who was virtually not recruited. Rob Chudzinski's ahead for a gain of 19 yards, and the Hurricanes hit the long pass early.
Don Chudzinski, a big play receiver for Miami on 3rd down. That's his 31st catch of this football season now into 1989. 23 of those 30 catches have gone for 1st down. And one of the things that Miami's got to worry about, that defensive front of Nebraska on him after he throws the ball.
Pitch back. Cleveland Gary at 225 takes on tacklers. A 1st and 10 carry, and he crossed midfield. Here's a marker down as the gain is good for about 2 yards. The big, strong safety for the Huskers, Reggie Cooper, 17, came up to hit him, along with a very fast linebacker, Leroy Etienne. Face mask call from referee Jimmy Harper, and the call is against Nebraska. Tom Osborne.
Doing the run and incidental face mask on the defensive team, 5 yards. It's not a 1st down.
He's been answering Trump questions about going for 2 when he could have tied and won a national championship for 5 years. I think he's heard that question enough.
I think he's going to get another opportunity to play for the national championship, even though this football team of Nebraska has an awful lot of seniors on it. Tom Osborne feels that he has great talent coming up in the next 2 or 3 years at Nebraska.
Both these clubs do. 1st and short now on the penalty. Long ball going for it all as he airs it out, and it's Fryer could not hang on to the interception. Charles Fryer, who's intercepted 4 this year. He is a cousin of Irving Fryer of New England Patriot fame. Darrell Dawkins was the intended receiver.
Even though Miami likes to dink the ball down the field, throw it out in the flat, in order to get respect from the defense, you will see the ball thrown deep. That time, there's another face mask. Now, this one's not called on Miami. That time you see pressure once again. Kent Wells right at the legs of Steve Walsh.
That could be our penalty of the night. Face mask. And so now the Hurricanes in the scoreless game set up 2nd down and 3. Just across midfield. Quick back. Leonard Connolly takes it at the Nebraska defense down to the 40, and he appears to have a 1st down. Kent Wells, a 285-pound defensive end, tackled him. There's Steve Taylor warming up, waiting for his chance to come out pitching, although he likes to run more. Nebraska's all-time top touchdown producer. Thrown for 11 this year. He's run for 13 touchdowns. Dawkins goes wide left. Miami a basic pro set offense out of the I formation now. 1st and 10. Play fake. Nicely done. And here is a throw and a hard stick put on by Lorenzo Hicks, and he freed the ball from the tight end Chudzinski. Walsh, among other things, trumps an excellent ball handler, freezes those backers with the play fake.
But this is rather unusual. This Miami offense is a straight drop back offense. It's not normal for Miami to go back and use any play action whatsoever. This is the 8th play of this drive now that Miami has had to start the game against Nebraska. They are a move the chains offense with Steve Walsh. They don't get sacked much, and when they don't turn the ball over, they are very difficult to beat.
That is the bottom line in Miami. When the Canes don't turn it over, they don't lose. They've won 25 straight in the Orange Bowl. Walsh had a hurry there as the All-American. Game of blitzing. Roderick Thomas blew over the tackle. Croel was also on the blitz. And Mike Croel and Thomas got to the quarterback, so Walsh did well just to get rid of the ball. He's only been sacked, Steve Walsh, 4 times this season.
That's an all-out blitz, too. You got Roderick Thomas, Etienne, and Croel coming in on the quarterback, so you can see that Nebraska already not really known as a blitzing team, trying to put a little added pressure on Steve Walsh in his opening drive. These are very active, very big linebackers for the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
You see a 60% throw. Tremendous touchdown to interception ratio. Very smart. He searches the defense for an opening. And now he could have a delay of game with 12:07 left to go in the first quarter and no score. Miami moving on its opening drive.
A dead ball foul.
Dead
delay
ball.
Of game.
It's a delay of game indeed, and so the ball trump has moved back to the 46. That was the 9th play of the drive that they tried to get off.
And you tell that officiating crew is from the Southeast Conference. I'm just
a Dixie in there.
Yeah, I just noticed just a slight accent, not serious, but just a slight accent on that officiating crew. They are out of the Southeast Conference, as Jimmy Harper is the referee.
They're all very good, or they wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
3rd down, 15 to go for Miami. Opening drive. Walsh with a 12-yard drop. Lofts it long. He's got a man, but Leonard Connolly can't get to the ball at the 19-yard line. Walsh is not known as a long-distance passer. Does not have the arm of some of the previous Miami QBs like Kosar or Kelly. More like Kosar.
This is a double wing set by the Miami Hurricanes. They run a lot of different formations. They try very desperately to get single coverage a lot of plays. Hicks was kind of fooled a little bit on it. And Conley was open. Walsh just overthrew him a little bit.
Dana Brinson is back deep now. Tim Kalal is the punter in for Miami, standing back at his 40. He lost a very fine punt into the night air of South Florida that Brinson likes hot, and the Hurricanes are down at the 2-yard line. Go first quarter. Nebraska gets the ball for the first time, but they get it deep in their own end after an excellent punt by Kalal. 42-yarder down at the 3. Clark, the I-back, nothing at all. While Nebraska is sensational running the ball, best in the country statistically, Miami is equally tough stopping the run. They give up only 2.2 yards to the rush. They gave up none there. Taylor at quarterback. Carpenter's a blocker. Clark has rushed for 15 yards, and very few people talk about him outside of the Big 8. And he's in the same conference with the Heisman Trophy winner, Barry Sanders. Offensive line is always for the Huskers huge. Glazer, 70, the right tackle, could end up a great one. 300 pounds, and he can run, a junior. 2nd and 10. Hand up. Clark goes wide. Breaks the gap, and he gets out close to the 8-yard line. Rod Carter, a running knockout tackler, comes over from the middle, 91, and made the pop. And that's Farms. The free safety was also up on the play.
You see those linebackers cheating to the line of scrimmage. 91. Clark there to help on the tackle. Or Carter there to help on the tackle. Clark, a young man who in the first 6 games of the season for Nebraska rushed for 481 yards. And in the last 6, 1,016.
Interesting. He said everybody asked him what the difference was. He said, I stopped worrying about getting hurt. He's had some injury problems. He's a junior, not big, 5'9", 200. Option. On 3rd down and 5. Miami sticks and stops the run as they shut down Taylor on his first carry. Russell Maryland Sophomore defensive tackle from Chicago. Number 67 comes off the field, and so now, Trump, Nebraska's got to punt it from deep in their own end.
And Jimmy Johnson and his team gets an awful lot of attention to their offense, but Jimmy Johnson feels that the front 7 players of his defense are the key to the Miami football program. If they can stop their opponent, their offense can beat them.
They stopped him there. 3 downs and out on Nebraska's first possession. No score. Here is a bunt hopping downfield. Picking the ball up is Spencer, and Darrell Spencer breaks it for the moment, and he is inside the 35-yard line. Now the Hurricanes, with their second possession, now have very good field position. It's 0-0, but Miami's in position to Breeze, where they down 14-3 in that game.
Like that. That's unusual for a Big Ten team to come back like that, too.
We'll be updating all the bowl games of today momentarily, as right now we have Miami with the ball. First down and 10. They start after the punt from the Nebraska end zone. And Walsh is caught and dropped. Coming on a blitz was a cornerback, Lorenzo Hicks, number 8. He's a player that Miami has targeted to throw the ball at a lot, but that time he got him with the rush.
That's just the 5th time that Steve Walsh has been sacked in 1988 as you look at the scores of the other bowl games.
Syracuse on NBC Sports earlier with an impressive win over LSU in the Hall of Fame Bowl. UCLA in command throughout and winning the Cotton Bowl over Arkansas. Clemson takes on and beats Oklahoma in the Florida Citrus Bowl. And in the national championship game, Notre Dame prevails over West Virginia 34-21. Irish hold out in front 9-0. Were never challenged in the game. Cleveland Gary straight ahead on a 2nd and 16 play, gets down close to the 31-yard line. Gain on the play of about 9 yards.
Don, Nebraska is coming out here with 5 defensive backs. That's why you had that blitz by Hicks on the previous play. Lewis is the 5th defensive back, so Walsh is looking to the underneath. It looks like Broderick Thomas, 89, was the guy who was supposed to be there in coverage. 47, Etienne finally makes the tackle. Let's see if they got, again, they have 5 defensive backs in the ballgame.
Walsh is 6'3", 195. He'll wait for the last possible moment to release the ball. All his receivers are always ready because he spreads the ball around. Pitch back Leonard Connolly, the fastest backfield man, loses his hat but keeps on trucking, and Leonard Connolly is inside the 25-yard line, and it appears he might have a first down. He does. Will they spot the ball?
Etienne again on the tackle. The guy who has not really been very reliable for Miami this year, Conley, a very, very small player. Around 5'9", weighs close to 170. Etienne grabs him right by the helmet as Conley cuts inside and gets nothing but the helmet.
And so the Miami Hurricanes move on now. First down and 10. Scoreless game. Ball at the Nebraska 23-yard line. Pitch back. Fred Highsmith runs the ball and gets to about the line of scrimmage. Fred's almost a pensioner, 27 years old. He was in the United States Air Force before going to Miami.
I would imagine, too, there's no player on the field who loves playing more than Fred Highsmith.
Good player from Jacksonville. He's a senior, 6'1", 225.
Don, in this situation now, all season long, you see 84 in your picture there, Chudzinski. This is the guy that Steve Walsh likes to go to in these situations where they can throw it to the end zone.
Walsh with a 3-step drop, tip ball, but it's caught anyway. Chudzinski lost it. That could be a live ball. They're ruling it an incomplete pass.
Nebraska is putting great pressure on Steve Walsh. Every time he throws it, he's getting up off the ground. He's now 4 of 9 for 34 yards. Chudzinski, he's out there with Blazek, number 23, the academic All-American nickelback. And Walsh really gets hammered. Watch once again. The ball is tipped by Broderick Thomas, 89. Walsh is on his back. Chudzinski almost makes the catch.
Walsh Trump says he likes Chudzinski. He's the only guy that was recruited by fewer schools than I was. Only 3 recruited Walsh. Louisville, Iowa State, and Miami. Now he's an All-American. They won national championship on his belt. Here's a throw to Connolly, and he's in. So Walsh on 3rd down takes a look and drills it right up the middle, and super fast Leonard Connolly out of the backfield splits the zone defense of Nebraska, and Walsh with a tight spiral is right there for the first touchdown of the game.
Nebraska uses a great deal of double rotation zone. That is corners up, safeties out, tight ends and running backs running down through the middle of zone. if they have any foot speed, or if they deke a linebacker somewhere, they're going to be open. Walsh, nice touch on the ball. Conley makes the catch.
Carlos Huerta, the place kicker, and a very good one, redshirt freshman. Puts it up and through. And so the Hurricanes of Miami, who back to boast to their coach, Jimmy Johnson, we can score on anybody, maybe a lot, goes up against one of the nation's best defenses and goes up 7-0.
Walsh throws that perfectly right over the outstretched hand of the linebacker.
His 27th reception. And Miami, which came in as a one-touchdown favorite in the local papers, has a 7-0 lead. Dana Brinson, the fastest Husker, breaks it up the middle. Wilson from Valdosta, Georgia, was one of the most recruited high school players when he came out 4 years ago. Hasn't broken one in a long time. And now Steve Taylor comes out. Trump, we could see him throwing more than he planned to.
Yeah, Don, we almost have to disregard. You look at the Miami defense, they play a 4-3 front, and they too like to play an awful lot of zone, but you can almost disregard that first drive by Nebraska because they're so close to their goal line. Tom Osborne likes to run 4, 5, 6 different formations, see what the defense is going to do.
Hawkins, the right defensive end, 54, is a first-team All-American. We're talking, Trump, about the front seven. That's the key, and that's Hawkins, who levels the quarterback, but he gets it away, and it's ruled out of bounds. Just after Taylor released the ball to Morgan Gregory downfield, Hawkins came from the blind side and steamrolled the quarterback.
You'll notice a tremendous size disparity. Miami defensive line to Nebraska offensive line. But that's true almost every weekend that Miami plays. Now, the way they get around that is quickness. Quickness, you don't need size to succeed. They never line anybody up man on man. They're always looking for gaps and shoulders.
Up to block. An undersized but very fast defense indeed is now the give as Scott Cole might have been a loss on a 2nd down and 10 play. They'll spot the ball back at the Huskers' 31-yard line. Ken Clark carried and didn't ever get a chance to get started. Game clock with 6:30 to play. First quarter, 7-0 Miami.
Rod Carter, that inside linebacker, focusing in on this multiple offense that Nebraska runs. When they've got 3 running backs there in the backfield, you've got to stay true to your keys. Carter, an excellent tackler, brings up a long yardage situation for Nebraska.
3rd and 13. Taylor doesn't like to drop back, but he's going to have to here as he stands at his 23, eludes the rush, and here's where he does his best on a broken play. But not there as outside linebacker Randy Shannon ran him down.
Interesting defense that time by Miami, Don. You could see man-to-man coverage on the receivers down the field, but the linebackers up front were playing zone. And they're playing zone to make sure that Steve Taylor can't run free through the defense.
Miami gets great speed in their defense by converting players. Most of their down linemen were tight ends or linebackers in high school. Their linebackers were strong safeties or fullbacks in high school. They draft speed or recruit it. There's a punt downfield now, and Darrell Spencer's back, waiting for John Croker's punt. Good coverage by Nebraska, and the knockdown is made at the 34-yard line. A 39-yard punt, just a 3-yard return. Miami, which scored in its last possession, takes another crack at the Nebraska defense. And
Notre Dame did it dramatically this afternoon.
They also beat Miami, albeit by 1 point at Notre Dame. Here is Cleveland Gary getting a swing pass, and the Hurricanes break another big play, throwing the ball. Nebraska, as we mentioned, has seen a lot of passing. Utah State threw 60 times against them. But Utah State wasn't Miami of Florida.
And never will be. 22-1 as a starter. That lone loss, of course, to Notre Dame in South Bend. He is a high percentage passer. Tonight, he's 6 for 11. He does not get sacked. He does not make the big mistake.
They did sack him once, the first time in many games anybody's gotten Steve Walsh. Here is Conley. Last time he had his hands on it, you remember, he was in the end zone. This time, Reggie Cooper, the strong safety, comes up and cuts him down at the 48. No gain, 2nd and 10.
Jimmy Johnson felt he had to run the ball a little bit. After last year's great performance with Mel Bratton as a running back, and then 2 years ago, Alonzo Highsmith, they're stuck this year without a running back, so they've got to just keep defenses honest with running a few draws, couple of lead plays, but they want to throw it.
Walsh has put the ball up 11 times. Has hit 6. Nice numbers.
70 yards and a touchdown.
Walsh this time tries to go to his tight end, Chudzinski, running that drag pattern underneath the zone. Walsh's greatest strength is he sees everything. Any opening, any weakness in the defense, he'll exploit.
He likes to audible, and so does Miami. The plays come in from the sideline. Gary Stevens is the offensive coordinator, and a lot of times Steve Walsh, he'll audible just to call his own play, which doesn't please Jimmy Johnson and Gary Stevens an awful lot. Nebraska once again now down with 5 DBs.
One of them's really a linebacker, Croel. He's the guy that got to Walsh earlier. On Lewis. In also as Walsh now takes a look on 3rd down. Long ball downfield. Randall Hill comes down with the ball, but he got it out of bounds. Reggie Cooper, the strong safety, 17, was covering along with Charles Fryer. So very nearly a big hit, but it's a long out for the Hurricanes, and they'll punt it.
Look how close this comes to being a reception. You see Cooper coming over there on the side. Look, he catches the ball. If he had just caught it in bounds, that would have been a heck of a catch. That's a catch for the highlight reel right there.
Tim Croel in to punt the ball. Standing back. They take it. Up back gets it. Crum breaks into open field. There's a penalty marker down. They've done that now 5 times this season. It's worked 4. Whenever you see Croel's arms fly up like it's a bad snap, Maurice Crum, the up back, has got the ball. But the call is against Miami, so it comes back. They usually do it early in the game, too.
And from around midfield, Dana Brinson, the punt returner, is the guy who makes the tackle. This is a good job of faking everything. This Miami football team is complete.
Doing the run on the line of scrimmage, holding on the offensive line.
Brinson makes the tackle, and it's all called back. So now Croel will punt for sure.
So Crum, who is Miami's best linebacker and also loves to get the ball, as he did just there, has a 29-yard gain wiped out by the call against one of his linemen. And Croel now stands back inside his 25 on a 4th and 20 play. Dana Brinson's back deep. Richard Bell is back with him. High punt. Gonna let it bounce. Takes a big Miami roll inside the 20 and down to the 14-yard line. Roland Smith downs the ball. So Croel does his job very well with 4:08 to play in the first quarter. A 48-yard punt.
5 yards so far tonight.
Looked like the man was offside, Bobby Harden, but there's no flag. He timed it perfectly for Miami, and they run down the running play to the near side. Now there is a marker down. The man who helped Miami win the national championship a year ago in their victory over Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl was Michael Irvin. He caught a touchdown pass, and he's with Jim Gray now. Jim?
Thank you, Don. Michael, you're very, very nervous down here. You're sweating profusely. Why?
Yeah, I am nervous for my boys out there. I watch them practice, and they want this game. It's a really emotional game. It's a lot like last year, championship game, you know. We know Notre Dame won everything, but my boys, you know, they're winners, and they want to win, and they're out there to win.
You're with the Cowboys now. You had a tough rookie year. Not you personally, but the team. What about playing with Troy Aikman next year?
Well, me personally had a tough year. When you come out and we lose like we lost this year, it's always a tough year and everything for us. But so we just got to go out on. We're happy if we're going to get Troy Aikman. We'll be happy for it.
Let's go back upstairs to Don.
Thank you, Jim. They go to Brian Carpenter, the up back on a run. Michael Irvin got some of those cowboy dollars around his neck there.
He's one of 17 players that Miami sent to the NFL last year. As you look at Nebraska's field position has been awful so far tonight. Yeah, Irvin, 12 drafted, I think, and 5 who signed. They were a talented team last year.
That play penalty call against Miami gives Nebraska first down, 1st and 10. Here's the rollout by Taylor. And those very fast linebackers, Maurice Crum, who's the fastest of the lot, runs him down. So Steve Taylor has yet to turn the corner on the Hurricane defense.
The Cornhuskers had 4 wide receivers in the ball game and still go with the run. This Crum is a surprising player, just a sophomore. And he has so impressed everybody that they had some injuries early in the year, and they couldn't get this guy to the lineup. He's not big, 6 foot 220, but he's always around the football.
The same high school that produced Net Dwight Gooden. They say sophomore, though. Virtually every Miami player is a redshirt. His 3rd year. Taylor gets time, quickly runs out of it, throws off his back foot, and a man is out there. But Bubba McDowell covers nicely. The right cornerback, 48. We see that Taylor, who's also a standout baseball player, has a long-distance delivery if he needs to.
Yeah,
Throwing off his back foot, he put it 60 yards.
Morgan Gregory was the intended receiver again on a busted play. Steve Taylor tries to make a big play out of absolutely nothing, and that's Jimmy Johnson's biggest fear. And frankly, that's what Tom Osborne and his staff rely on a great deal. Making something ugly and making it beautiful. Demonstrative offensive line coach of the Miami Hurricanes.
They're down and 11 comes up now for Nebraska as Taylor runs out of trouble. He's back in more. Here's another long ball. Very nearly a connection at the 28-yard line, but this does not augur well for Nebraska, as their coach, Dr. Tom Osborne, said before the game, Trump, if we have to pass a lot, we're in trouble, and they're passing a lot right now.
Yeah, he said if we got to throw it 40 times, we have no chance. Taylor has yet to complete one, and they have 2 yards rushing on 3 carries. You'd hate to see it. That's almost a catch. I mean, Taylor rolls right, sets up, and heaves that thing about 50 yards down the field right on target. But Coker punts for the 3rd time, something Nebraska's certainly not used to.
No, they don't punt a lot. They go for it a lot on 4th down. They've gone for it 51 times in the regular season on 4th down. Almost blocked. An inch away. Robert Bailey almost had it as they let it roll, and it'll Karam roll downfield rather soundly, 35-21. Jim Kelly said he doesn't think it's going to be that way this time. We'll see on Sunday. Right now, they're going to the run is Shannon Croel. And Croel takes it ahead, knocked down by Cooper.
Most teams in the Big 8 try to avoid Broderick Thomas, the All-American linebacker, at all costs. But Miami runs right at Broderick Thomas. And look at him, 89. Good job down at his legs. An excellent job of blocking by Fred Highsmith. And he gets Broderick Thomas's hands down. And then Cooper comes in for the tackle. Nice 7-yard pickup.
Second and 3. Croel takes a hard stick. Coming on hard was the nose tackle, Lawrence Pete, and the outside backer, Jeff Mills, number 42. So 3rd down and 3 arises now for the Hurricanes, who lead the game 7-0 on a touchdown pass. First quarter, we're still in it with 1:04 to play. Steve Walsh to Leonard Conley. Speed goes in the left flank now. Randall Hill is out there, one of the fastest Hurricanes at the top of your screen. 3rd and a long 3. Walsh stands in. Drills almost picked off. Maybe it was. Let's see what they really know. They say that Reggie Cooper, the strong safety, got it on the 1 hop.
This defensive backfield in Nebraska, the 4 starters and plays like the nickelback. They produced 13 interceptions for Nebraska. And this is one of the rare bad throws by Walsh, but he was hurried once again. Nebraska continues to get great pressure on Steve Walsh, and that's certainly something that this offense and Steve Walsh is not seeing a lot in 1988.
Well, we should go to the replay here, Trump. Your favorite device.
I think it'll be very nice to do this game tonight without ever referring to the replay again. So,
well, it's also changed some errant calls. The right team won. But we don't have it out to the opponent's 25-yard line in College Division II and gets 4 plays. They score a touchdown or a field goal. If they don't do anything, the other team gets it at their 25 and gets 4 plays. They keep going until somebody wins. It's not first score, it's over.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm interested in that, though. I'm really not. And I don't imagine you find a lot of coaches who are interested in it. I mean, there's already this tremendous confusion. They had to call a timeout to get the right people on the field. So far, Nebraska's head's not really in the game yet.
Well, they had the punt defense team rather than the punt return team. Ball's hit high by Croel. Richard Bell fair catches the ball at the 31-yard line. It does prevent ties, though. 30-yard punt. That's what Lou Holt said about ties. A tie has
been rushing touchdowns out of their total of 64. They got to now present themselves here and carry their load.
First down and 10 for Nebraska. Huskers down by 7. Pitch back to their best, Ken Clark. And he has got nothing at all so far tonight. As the very fast Hurricane defenders keep running him down before he can turn the corner. The same has been true for the quarterback, Steve Taylor, unable to turn it upfield.
Now, this is not a penetrating defensive line of the Miami Hurricanes. It is, well, it's almost true of the Miami Dolphins, too, but it's a pursuit defensive line. You see Milliken, the tight end. Hawkins does a great job of getting off the block, and look at the shirts there. 4, 5 Miami Hurricanes there to make the tackle.
380 yards a game running the ball. And second and 11. Here comes the blitz. They try to screen it off. It was picked off. It appeared on the one half, but the official looks like he's going to let it go as a live play.
They still didn't get any yards. That ball looked like it bounced. Again, Miami with great pressure. They're finally saying now it's an incomplete pass. That's now 4 possessions for Nebraska without a first down, with 1 first down. Yeah, that ball skipped, no question about that. Out there to Clark. You saw the great pressure by the Miami Hurricanes defensive front.
They can put it on, the pressure. Miami has set a team record this season with 50 sacks in the regular season. First come from the defensive ends and the linebacker Crum. Taylor in trouble as, again, running for his life. Nothing there. He's got to eat the ball. The Hurricane defense controls this game. Nebraska is without offense so far. We're at the 55th Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida on NBC Sports with the Hurricanes of Miami, who came into the game ranked number 2 in America, meeting the Nebraska Cornhuskers for the first time in 5 years. The last time they played, it was in the Orange Bowl, January 1, 1984. And that night, in a major upset, Miami upset Nebraska, then number 1 in the country and averaging 52 points a game, 31-30 to win its first national championship. Canes have gone on to win 2 national championships in the last 4 years. Croker punts as he again is hurried. And the ball will roll to a halt at about the 37-yard line of the Canes, a 34-yard punt. Here comes the Miami offense again from Canes, who's not been beaten in their last 25 games unless they're home field, although through a twist of fate, they're the visiting team officially tonight. They gave the host team. You know that from the crowd noise as the pitch back goes to Croel, and he runs upfield and breaks it ahead for a gain of 14 yards. And a Miami first down as he's out to midfield.
13 yards on the carry. Jackson finally makes the tackle, and they capture the corner. Actually, Don, I'm rather surprised that Miami is making this look as easy as it is. Highsmith, 31, is the lead blocker there, and well, he's 7 or 8 yards down the field before you see anybody from Nebraska. Ends up being 13 yards on the game.
Croel getting a lot more work tonight. On first and 10, play fake. And Walsh chose to throw it away as the swing man was covered, and so were the people downfield, and the rush was coming.
Yeah, that was a busted play all the way.
Heat Trump, as you know, is the focal point of a lot of interest here. Steve Walsh is a redshirt junior. He'll graduate in May. You see what his numbers were against Notre Dame. Record numbers throwing the ball against the Irish. And Steve Walsh will be eligible for the NFL draft if he so chooses. A lot of people think if he so chooses, he'd be the second quarterback picked in the first round after Aikman.
Yeah, Miami has had, Kozar played 2 years, Testaverde played 2 years, and now this is Walsh's second year. They have a habit of getting 2-year production out of these quarterbacks, and then they go to the NFL. They can all play, too, can't they?
Erickson, the backup, is terrific, too. Here's a pickoff. Fryer intercepts the ball. Lorenzo Hicks, they're going to give it to, it is Fryer, indeed. Charles Fryer picks it up just off the ground as Walsh tried to gun it in low on a slant pattern.
Well, so far, Charlie McBride's group, defensive coordinator in Nebraska, has done their job, holding Miami to just 7 points. You can see the 5 defensive backs sitting back there, and Walsh kind of throws before he's ready. There's 3 of them. Jackson, Fryer makes the interception. Hicks is standing right there. There's an awful lot of people back there in that defensive backfield now for Nebraska. And again, Miami's going to have to run a little bit to get some respect from that defense.
But Nebraska's offense is going to have to move the ball a little bit to get any respect from the Miami defense as they now go to the run and power it straight ahead. An All-American center, Jake Young, fired out. The Huskers huge up front as always. They go two tight end offense 40% of the time and run the power game, but Miami's quickness has beaten the block so far.
Tom Osborne is totally in charge of the Nebraska offense. Totally. It's his by design. He's the one that sculpts it. He patterns it for every opponent that they play, and it's just a matter of repetition. They do not have a lot of plays, but they run it from a lot of different formations.
Second down and 2. Nebraska trailing 7-0, second quarter, 12:20 to play in it. Intercepted by Miami. Maurice Crum picks off a tip ball.
That ball was intended for Knox. Tyrese Knox.
So the Hurricanes get intercepted, and 2 plays later they get it right back. It's Maurice Crum, the blitzer and best tackler, gets a tip ball for Miami.
You see Taylor, he's just staring out there. It bounces right off of his hand, Knox's hand. Wow. That's a nice reaction by Maurice Crum. He's been in a lot of places and a lot of big plays so far.
And that's Steve Taylor's first pass that was caught, unfortunately, by the wrong team. Unfortunately for him, he's 0 for 4 throwing it with 1 interception.
Crum again around the ball, and Miami has it back.
Walsh, deep drop. Here comes the rush. Broderick Thomas got to him, but a moment too late. Now they rule the receiver did not have a foot in bounds. Walsh is paying as this Broderick Thomas is calling on every throw when he takes the deep drop. You look at here's the Rose Bowl final. Michigan rallying from behind to beat Southern California. Florida State in command over Auburn. Syracuse defeated LSU in the Hall of Fame Bowl. UCLA over Arkansas in the Cotton Bowl. Oklahoma fell to Clemson 13-6. The Tigers winning at the Florida Citrus Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl. Top-ranked Notre Dame completed a perfect season 12-0 with a decisive victory 34-21.
John Walsh has cooled off. He's missed his last 5 passes.
End off now goes, and Conley, who's run well when he's had the ball. You remember that touchdown reception from 22 yards out. Gets the carry on 2nd and 10 for a 9-yard gain.
One thing that Nebraska has done throughout the night is get a lot of pressure on him. That's Broderick Thomas, 89 from behind him to hold of Walsh's face mask. Interesting to note that John O'Neill, the offensive tackle, number 75, is facing Broderick Thomas, is not allowed a sack in 1988. Thomas, that outside pass rush is really getting in Walsh's face and on his back all over the place.
33, Broderick Thomas. His uncle is Mike Singletary, the Chicago Bears, the NFC Defensive Player of the Year.
That's on the defense unless they were thrown out. I don't believe they were.
Broderick Thomas's mother is Mike Singletary's older sister, and he talks to Mike Singletary at least once a week. He's his idol with good reason.
Violation neutral zone. Defensive team offside, 5 yards.
They put Thomas down as a pass rusher at 6'4.5", maybe 5, 245, and about 4'5" in the 40. You've got to commit a big man to him. That is an offensive lineman. You can't expect a running back to try to block Broderick Thomas. In the Big 8, they avoid him like the plague. I mean, they run away from him. They run formations to get him out of the pass rush. He is a real dominant factor in the Big 8.
Broderick Thomas, Osborne calls him the best we've ever had at linebacker at Nebraska. 7-0 Miami. They scored in the first quarter on a Walsh pass as he gets set to throw on 1st and 10. A strike. Leonard Connolly lost the handle but got it back. On the one hop, he picked up 4 more yards and got a first down, a 14-yard gain.
Hicks was the man in coverage again. Nebraska with good pressure this time. You see blitzing from the outside, but Walsh is looking for that intermediate route. That 5-step drop. Conley catches it. The ball is stripped away. The ball is definitely bouncing Miami's way so far. Watch this one. Come back here. Yo-yo right there, and we'll pick up another 4 yards. First down.
The Hurricanes now go 1st and 10 from the 24 of Nebraska. Play fake. End zone ball. Chudzinski. He's got it down to the 4-yard line. velvet passing touch of Steve Walsh as he floats it in right where it had to be. Rob Chudzinski. And the Canes now go first and goal from the 4-yard line of the Huskers.
And once again, Miami's doing a great job of getting these guys out of here, knowing that this spot is open. It's the tight ends and running backs that are getting the ball. And again, Walsh identifies it perfectly. They're held at the line of scrimmage, then go out. And there's Chudzinski wide open for the reception.
Walsh has now hit 8 of 19 for 105 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. Double tight ends. Walsh looks again. He likes Chudzinski, but throws high as the coverage was there. Blazek, an extra defensive back, was in.
I don't think it takes a genius to figure out when they get down here who they like to throw it to, or the two tight ends. Here's Chudzinski. Blazek 23 right there with him. Chudzinski and Bethel are the two tight ends, and they've combined for 10 touchdown passes. They've only caught 46 passes between them completely, so they'll keep looking for him, or Conley, or Cleveland Garrett. Not much to the wideout.
Second down and goal, Miami. So the Canes got it back on an interception. They drive on now. Cleveland Garrett down to the 1-yard line. Big play in this drive, that 20-yard lofted throw to Rob Chudzinski that got the first and goal at the 4.
Conley scored 7 rushing touchdowns, but they prefer to throw it. Third and goal at the 1. Got all the big weapons in there now.
Coach Osborne still chewing, a bit stunned by what he's seen early. It's still 7-0 Canes with 9:46 to go in the first half. But third and goal coming up now for Miami is over the top and thrown back. Cleveland Gary. Send out the kicker.
Huerta comes out, no question whatsoever. Carlos Huerta. Jimmy Johnson will take the 3 points. This is a good push by the Nebraska defensive line, as we mentioned earlier. This offensive line of Miami not big. When it comes down to short yardage situations, they're generally at a tremendous disadvantage.
Huerta. He's been perfect all season, 44 of 44 extra points. And now the field goal is good. 18-yard field goal. He's hit 22 of 25 inside the 49. Redshirt freshman from Miami. And the Canes extend their lead to 10-0 with 8:58 to play in the first half. They'll kick it off in a moment.
Bowl is brought to you by Chrysler. Chrysler believes a luxury car should be a great driving car. At Chrysler, we're driving to be the best. By Gillette and the Gillette Atra Plus shaving system. Gillette, the best a man can get. By Shearson Lehman Hutton, the financial firm for the serious investor. And by Nabisco Brands. At Nabisco, we make products that make friends.
The Orange Bowl, the UCLA game when they were blitzed for 28. First quarter points by the Bruins. Won the rest of the game, but UCLA won at 41-28 the final count. Richard Bell returns the kickoff. Special teams with standout play. Sweep down and knock down Richard Bell, as Coach Osborne has not seen much to be fond of. We go to the sideline and Jim.
Nebraska, why are they being totally dominated on both lines of scrimmage right now?
Well, I don't really know. I wish I could tell you, but I know one thing: they are very flat, and they don't look like the same team that they played against Oklahoma when they controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the field, and that's like offense and defense. And really, right now, their defensive line, they're just taking control of our offensive line.
Let's go back to the action. Thanks, man.
Okay.
8:51 to go. First half, 10-0 Hurricanes. Huskers with the ball. Taylor takes a look. Forced to hesitate, and he's lost.
Bill Hawkins on the sack. Don, you mentioned earlier, 50 sacks this season for this defensive line is an absolutely remarkable stat. These guys are not big, but they are great at running around blocks, and they never stop. That is almost shocking. Steve Taylor likes to run the ball, and we've not really seen him try to run the ball down the field yet tonight. And he's standing there looking for the the pass, and the pass rush is getting to him.
Taylor calls his own number, but the Canes are so quick. Even their down linemen can shed the block and make the play on the super quick Nebraska quarterback, Steve Taylor. Russell Maryland and Jimmy Jones converge and get him.
This is a great performance to this point by the Miami defense. As we mentioned earlier, Jimmy Johnson said, we win games when our front seven dominates. Are they dominating this game to this point? I hope to tell you.
And from the outset, with 7.5 minutes to go in the first half, Nebraska has to hit a big play. Morgan Gregory flanked out from the sideline as their offense has 3rd and 13 coming out. From the 2, Taylor breaks away. Gets it downfield. Morgan Gregory comes down with the ball for a first down at the 47-yard line.
No flags.
Yeah, there is one, Trump, at the 7.
Oh, there is one, yeah. I'm looking upfield.
39-yard gain comes back.
Robert Bailey finally makes the tackle.
If it's against Nebraska.
If it's against Nebraska. Here's the call.
Huskers don't seem too pleased about the illegal forward pass.
Across the line of scrimmage. That's also a loss of down. Well, we have offsetting penalties. He was across the line of scrimmage, and there was also a late hit. A hit to the head. That's by Bubba McDowell, so it's wiped out. Tom Osborne is considered someone who is very cool and collected on the sideline. I just don't know if they show him enough on television on the sideline, because he'll go.
He's churning.
Berserk.
So the Huskers have a big moment, but it turns out only to be a footnote in this game, a long out. 39-yard pass play negated. 3rd and 13 again. Taylor takes a look, running for his life. Cleveland down. He gets away for a moment and gets across the 10-yard line, now close to the 13. Russell Maryland has run them down. Boy, 275 pounds. There is speed in the defensive front.
Don, Miami has had great coverage so far tonight. Every one of these sacks or hurries or scrambles by Steve Taylor have been because of outstanding coverage down the field. They're tying on a lot of man-to-man and leaving their underneath people there to watch for Taylor so he can't run, and it's working perfectly.
Nebraska is an Indian name that means flat water. Tonight, Nebraska's flat offense, and the Miami defense has done that as again they put the big rush on the punter. Takes a big Husker roll, though, goes across midfield and down close to the 40-yard line. It's down to the 40-yard line of the Canes, so Miami will go on offense there after a 47-yard punt. Not a happy time when the only thing you have to cheer about is your punter's work. First half, Miami with a 10-0 lead and the football at the Canes' 40-yard line. Walsh at quarterback. Called rollout. Here comes a blitzer at the end. Went to his head and then moved his arm off. The referee right there said it was all right. It's clean.
Don, when Nebraska comes to the Orange Bowl, they bring bodies.
175 this year.
There are legions of football players over there. Yes, they are. They had 12 suspended, so there's 12 missing there. I mean, they've got them 4 deep from the 30 to the 30. Most of them probably have nice hands, and some of them are going to be tired and sore.
Right now, it is 2nd down and 10 coming up for Miami. Walsh with a deep drop again. Over the middle, he goes and makes a connection. Chudzinski, his tight end, is down to the 42-yard line. On a 2nd down and 10 play, the gain is good for 18 yards. So Chudzinski has 2 big catches tonight, one for 20. And that for 18.
This young man is not very fast, but once again you can see the zone coverage. He goes right by people. Reggie Cooper, 17, when it just cleared out there. And Walsh does a great job of reading what coverage it is, and these receivers do an even better job of finding the dead spots in the zone.
Defenders talk Trump about the big problem with Walsh is he throws the ball so many different places. He looks at everybody. Here's a timing pattern and trying to run under it, and unable to is Dale Dawkins. We mentioned at the outset the #1 receiver for the Canes, Andre Brown, was suspended for this game for violating team rule. That was all that was spelled out.
There you see the total passing yardage for the most famous Miami Hurricane quarterbacks.
Guys should start their own bank.
Yes, by their own country. Steve Walsh, if he stays next year, is going to be the all-time passing leader. Now, that was an incomplete pass there by Steve Walsh, but he read it correctly. It was an all-out blitz, and he was going for the receiver on the quick drop.
2nd and 10. Back up top. Walsh doesn't like to run and doesn't. He wings it out now. Gets Leonard Conley, who breaks the tackle. 2 and 3, and Leonard Conley might go in. He's going to. Leonard Conley takes it the distance on what might be the play of the season for Miami. 5 people had a shot at him, and he broke them all and took it 42 yards into the end zone.
Great block by Dale Dawkins, the wide receiver, and a spectacular move by Leonard Conley just after he catches it.
Canes open up a 16-0 lead with 5:49 to play in the first half.
I like his percentages. 3 catches for 2 touchdowns. That'll work. That'll work anywhere.
Conley's not big, 5'9", 170. But you need a net, as you just saw, to get him down. And here's Huerta with the extra point. And the Canes extend their lead to 17-0. They came in, as we mentioned, favored by a touchdown.
They do a great job here of a half roll. Walsh rolls to his left. Now watch this move by Conley after Walsh scrambles. Watch this first move. He's got a man right on it. And he just fakes him right out of his equipment. And then it's pretty much the rest of the way with the help from Dawkins right there with a nice block. Leonard Conley, there's the nice block right there, and he's down the sideline. That is a spectacular play. Now see, that's what Miami likes to do. They throw the ball. Let's see if we can see how deep he catches this pass. I bet it's no more than 5 or 6 yards deep. It's a nice scramble by Walsh. That's a 7-yard reception. He turns it into a 42-yard touchdown with great individual athletic skill. That's what the Miami offense is based on.
Great 2nd and 3rd looks. The executive producer.
So they're in strange territory. Taylor, 0 for 4 with an interception. Nothing is working for the Cornhuskers this evening.
Well, as Coach Osborne said, Trump, when we have to pass a lot, we're in trouble, and they have to pass a lot now. Have had to all night. Running it back is Richard Bell, and he's cut down at the 19-yard line. Miami offense, thing of beauty to watch. It's a counter-punching offense. The defense does this, they'll do that. There's the weakness, they'll get it.
Very efficient day by Steve Walsh, now the all-time leader, tied with Vinny Testaverde. His next one will Sonny Maloney. He's got 30 so far, 31 so far this season.
That's what he had coming into the game, 48. He has 50 career now. With 2 to Conley tonight.
I thought that included his numbers.
Bowl games don't count. Our NBC statistician Elliot Schaub tells us.
Thank you.
I would tell the Miami fans that. They lead 17-0 to the Canes. Bernard Clark makes the stop on Ken Clark. No relation. Nebraska's standout runner has been saddled all night with defenders on his back.
Reggie Cooper, the safety, 6'4", 215 pounds. Great athlete. One of the young men in that defensive backfield of the Cornhuskers. Just looks like he's getting spatted up again. Looks like he's all right. Hope he's all right.
Over the years, though, Nebraska has had one of the great programs in college football. It's hard to believe that for the last 19 years, they finished every season in the top 10. 19 straight years in the top 10.
This is their 20th straight bowl appearance. Turner makes the catch, and that's Taylor's first completion, and that wasn't even close to Turner. He had to jump up in the air to make the catch and fall down the only way to make the reception, and it's for very little gain. This offense is just, when this offense works, it's like warheads coming at you. They come at you from everywhere. Tonight, they've got nothing.
Defensive and offensive fronts, but so very fast. Now 3rd down and a long one. Pitch back, Clark, and he's stuck for a loss. Got him for a 4 or 5 yard loss. Shane Curry, a down lineman, even though he wears broke through and made the stop.
Well, they're
Clark
starting to
was
celebrate.
also on the play, 57.
Starting to celebrate now. Look at that. 11-1. Bernard Clark last year started for George Myra Jr. in the national championship game against Oklahoma, and then basically has been beaten out this year by Maurice Crum, so he doesn't play a lot, but he certainly remembers how to celebrate.
This Miami team's done a lot of celebrating. They're one play from It's blocked. Here is Miami coming up on the ball, and the Canes will take it over at the 10-yard line. Bubba McDowell with his, now that's Bubba McDowell who blocked it. Number 48, his 10th career block of a punt. And then it is picked up and recovered by Derek Golden, number 80.
Don, that's the third time they've come very close, and this time they get it. This is, I believe, as overwhelmed as you'll see a Nebraska football team in any year. That wasn't even close. And that's the third time. That's his first block of the season. Croker's first block punt of the season.
So if Miami hasn't already delivered the knockout punch, it could be coming in a moment. 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line of the Huskers. Croel and a catch. Running with the ball. Dale Dawkins. He's down at the 6-yard line.
Down on every punt that Nebraska has had, it looks like a guy is coming from some different direction every single time. This time, over McDowell right up through the, looks like the left side of the punt formation. And this is very unusual for Nebraska. Normally they don't make mistakes like this. They are really confused and very much out of their game, and the coaches are doing all the talking they possibly can.
A lot of meetings in that sideline.
It ain't enough.
Leonard Conley looking to go in for a third time. He gets down to about the 4-yard line, and that'll be 3rd and goal. Actually 3rd and 3 for the first down. They could still get a first down. Leroy Etienne and Reggie Cooper on the tackle for the Huskers. So Leonard Conley, who had a rap on him this season as a fumbler, has delivered some very big plays tonight. One of the most spectacular in a long time, the 42-yard touchdown reception, 5-yard pass. The rest was Leonard Conley running through 5 tacklers.
Had a nice block from Dawkins, but you're right, it was mostly Conley.
All the Hurricane wide receivers block and they don't play.
Their passing game runs better at the 15-yard depth.
Walsh in a sprint out, comes back near side. Cleveland Gary looks for blockers, and he's got him, but he slips on the turf and goes down at the 5-yard line. That was a 3rd and 8 play, and there's a marker down appears again.
Pushing and shoving.
There is a penalty marker down at the 2-yard line. The usual Orange Bowl spectacular coming up at halftime. We'll be going to check in with Gail Gardner and Jimmy Cefalo and Don
Not a
Shula.
dead ball after the play was over. Personal foul. White team. Be 4th down.
On today's bowl action, then come back to the Orange Bowl for the biggest halftime in football.
This is a nice screen setup. You see Gary slip out there. It's Kent Wells on the pass rush, but then Gary kind of slips here a little bit. And then I did not see who started what, but there was some pushing and shoving afterwards. And they generally catch the team that retaliates. But nevertheless, the flag against Miami. So Huerta on for a field goal attempt.
Huskers set 9 men to come. It's on the way, though, and Huerta. Money in the bank. Pops it. And Miami builds its lead to 20-0 with 2:28 to play in the first half.
No, Bill. Will your son be back in school next year at Miami, and do you want him to be back in school?
You know, there's a lot left to this game yet. You know, and he wants to have a good game. The Hurricanes want to win it big, and it'll be a decision for him to make after he gets back into Minnesota and look at the season and next year to come.
Okay.
There's a lot of good ball players back.
Mr. and Mrs. Walsh, thank you very much. Happy New Year. Back upstairs to Don.
Thank you, Jim. There is Steve Walsh, the redshirt junior, as we mentioned earlier, will graduate in May and could make himself eligible for the NFL draft. Meanwhile, his counterpart across the way, Steve Taylor, huddles with Coach Osborne, looking for answers. They're pretty close to going to the bag of tricks, trying to make something work. Richard Bell returns the kickoff for Nebraska. 20-0 Miami with 2:24 to play in the first half.
Don, a comment on Steve Walsh. I hear some people say he's not strong enough yet to play in the NFL, and one more year would give him a little more arm strength. I have the greatest respect for Bernie Kosar, and he has the intangibles. Bernie Kosar does. He wins. He's smart. Walsh, I believe, possesses the same intangibles. You don't need a strong arm like John Elway to play in the NFL. If you're good enough, they'll build an offense around you. He's won a national championship. He's one of the few kids I'd say, I want to go in the NFL. Forget the last year. He can buy his own college and go to school in his own time.
Well, a lot of NFL teams are waiting on that decision by Steve Walsh. There's a terrific player behind him, Erickson, who would take over if he did go. Handoff goes up the middle, and Ken Clark finally breaks for some yardage on a 1st and 10 carry. Nebraska is best back, second best in the Big 8 with 1,500 regular season yards and a 6.5 per carry average. Ken Clark gets ahead for a gain of 6.
I think that's the longest rush that Nebraska has had so far tonight. They're now in their 7th possession, still with 1 first down and with 24 total yards.
Second, a long three where it's spotted. Taylor running from trouble again. Gets it off to his fullback, Brian Carpenter, but he's only going to lose yards.
Oh, they are.
Taylor with a 20-yard drop by the time he got done running around, and his fullback had to come back with it. He'd be better off throwing it out of bounds.
This Hurricane defense, extraordinary. Dave Weinstead is the defensive coordinator, and he's done a great job of looking at this offense and trying to figure out how they make the big plays, and they have taken them away. When you take away Nebraska's big plays, they can't compete.
The draw, go to the throw, downfield, going for the ball is Richard Bell, but he can't get it at the 42-yard line. Taylor's got a live arm.
That was a 50-yard pass with his feet square to the line of scrimmage. You know, take a look at the coverage that Miami is trying to do here. They realize the ability of Taylor, so they're having those guys just hang there so that if Taylor runs the ball, there's somebody there to make the tackle. That was a very impressive throw. Incompletion, but a very impressive throw. Will they try to block another one?
Probably will. It sure looks like it. They've got 10 men up on the line. Here they come.
Oh.
They almost got it again, but they did get the punter, and Nebraska keeps the drive alive. Robert Bailey, number 23, was an inch from the ball, but he was full force into the punter, John Croker. And the flag comes down, and Nebraska will get a first down.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker, 15 yards, first down.
You got a Miami player down, too. The punt returner is still down on the ground. That was a certain amount of acting there by the punter, but I don't blame Croker a bit. The punt returner is down on the Nebraska sideline. I like that. You see two
Spencer.
Yeah, you see two Miami trainers on the left and Nebraska trainer on the right. Those trainers and doctors are always looking out for any athlete, not just their athletes.
So while Darrell Spencer is attended to, there is a timeout on the
thing that he can possibly go on. Here's Taylor breaking away finally.
That's one way to get well. Spring Taylor. And 10 play, he runs it out to the 43-yard line across midfield.
But there is a flag on, and Taylor limping badly.
37 seconds to go in the first half. Ken Clark straight ahead gets to about the 31-yard line. That's all. The 5 games he played against him at Oklahoma State. Johnson was the head coach there.
And Johnson didn't have Barry Sanders either.
Pickoff. Second intercept. Let's see if it's clean. Rod Carter, the middle linebacker, doing his work for the Hurricanes. Nebraska normally does most of its passing in the pregame warm-up, so they're going to have to throw the whole second half to get back in this as Dana Brinson runs it back. Crosses the 25 and gets to the 29. Whereas has been the case time and again, a Hurricane puts on a thunderous hit.
Now, Taylor left the first half limping slightly. Seemed to sprain his ankle. The one thing about this Nebraska football team, Don, this season against UCLA, they got absolutely hammered in the first half, kept their cool, came right back out in the second half, and went right back to their game plan.
Straight ahead give, there's not much there, as the handoff is to Brian Carpenter, the up back, the fullback out of that power I, double tight ends. Bill Hawkins, the defensive right end, who had a big first half with a couple of smashes of the quarterback, made the play on that one. Nebraska opening up with the wide receiver set coming near side now, on second down and 5. High back, Clark gets the ball. A little bit there for him as he works his way out to the 38. Another thing, Trump, the Nebraska coaches were pointing out, one of the biggest things they've done, they said Taylor's a guy who makes big plays out of nothing. So far, we haven't let him do that.
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing. They have committed to the point where Steve Taylor, when he has no one open down the field, cannot turn up the field and really pick up the big game. And he's scored 13 touchdowns rushing, has not even run for 5 yards so far tonight.
Third down and a long two. Clark runs and powers the ball straight ahead. He's going to be short, it appears, of the first down. That'll bring up fourth and about a foot. So Nebraska has a decision early. Let's go to Jim Gray on the sideline. He was a fly on the wall listening to Jimmy Johnson's halftime talk.
I talked to Jimmy when he...
Nebraska's gone for it on fourth down all season long. This is the 32nd time they've done it, and they've made it almost 60% of the time. But Miami wasn't lined up across from him. Quarterback Taylor calls his own number and took it to about the 40. It appears he has the first down.
That's about the only real mismatch you're going to see in this football game. When it gets down to third and short and fourth and short, the lack of size on the Miami defensive line, Nebraska should be able to overpower them. But you don't win football games by going for it more than once on fourth down. That's how dominated Nebraska has been.
Taylor on first and 10. A called rollout. Here comes the rush. Throws back, and he almost gave it up for 6. Maurice Crum had a play on the ball, but started to run before he caught it. He already has one interception on a tip ball.
How did he miss it is the question. That was a half roll. It was intended back for Ken Clark. It looked like it was going to be a slight screen. Now watch Maurice Crum. I mean, can it get any better than that? My goodness gracious. And if he catches that, he goes in for 6 points.
So second down and 10 comes up now. Goes into that power set, double tight end offense, the option sprint. And Taylor is cut down before he can pitch the ball. All the good defensive teams like Miami, number one objective, make the rollout option quarterbacks pitch the ball. Higher offense, high risk. Greg Mark, very good defensive end, 94, shut that down.
Along with Carter, who gets outside. They have done a great job, the Hurricanes, tonight. We documented at the outset of the game that Jimmy Johnson says if our front seven do it, nobody can beat us. And tonight, their front seven have played like 14.
It really is like there's extra guys out there. There's just no place to go for
no place. And look, once again, you got 8 guys at the line of scrimmage, Don.
Third and over 10, out pattern, and Brinson diving for the ball, can't get to it. Now Nebraska has to punt it with fourth down and over 10 to go.
This passing offense of Nebraska is a passing offense that is vertical. It is down the field. You can see that Nebraska, because of the pass rush by Miami, is throwing the ball out in the flat. That is not something they really like to do.
On return in now, after Spencer was shaken up in the first half, Pee Wee Smith is in.
Already had one block punt.
Pee Wee 6'1", 185, so he did some throwing once he got the nickname. Line drive hit back as Smith backpedals to his 18-yard line. And he's knocked out down to the 25-yard line, and that's where Miami will go on offense for the first time in the second half. A 43-yard punt, a 9-yard break for the Canes and their fans as they're up 20-0 with 11:50 to go in the third quarter. Miami with its first possession now of the second half. Setting up in the I-Pro set. Wide receivers out to either side. Now they shift. Jadzinski flexing out to the right side. The tight end who was very effective in the first half. Cleveland Gary, the intended receiver. Etienne was right there to strike him as the ball came in. We'd like to again congratulate the Federal Express Company. That tonight was announced by Jim Barker, the president of the 1989 Orange Bowl, as the new sponsor of the Orange Bowl, beginning with the 1990 game.
Now the Miami Hurricanes in the first half had 28 passes and 12 rushes. And what they'd like to do, I think, in the second half is run the ball, but 5-yard deep passes to running backs across the line of scrimmage is basically the way they run to control the clock.
Deep drop. Now Walsh, mobile, gets it downfield. Randall Hill is picked off. Randall Hill lost his footing, and Cajon Lewis runs it back, and he is back inside the 40-yard line of Miami. So Nebraska's defense delivers its biggest play of the night.
Leonard Conley finally makes the tackle. Randall Hill, that ball was way underthrown. You see Walsh get out of the pocket here. They do not come with a blitz, Nebraska. Walsh gets out of the pocket and then underthrows this ball a lot. When Hill slips, that's a nice, easy interception. Not tough at all for Lewis. And now the best field position of the night for Nebraska.
39-yard return on that, Trump. It's now 1st and 10. It is indeed, as Nebraska's not been in sight of the Miami goal line. And now they break a run. Ken Clark crashes inside the 25-yard line. He's down to the 22. And the 9,000 who followed the Huskers down from the state of Nebraska come up with a big ovation, and a well-deserved one, as Nebraska finally gets big plays. One from the defense, now one from the offense.
You can see the guards pull for Nebraska. They're running the power sweep. That's the longest gain of the night by the Nebraska offense. And Miami knows that you cannot lay down in front of Nebraska. They will come back and get points in a hurry. They did against UCLA.
One of the nation's highest scoring teams with the best running game in the country that's been shut down tonight. As you pointed out, Trump, Nebraska averaged over 6 yards a run this season, 380 plus a game. Miami allowed just over 2 yards a rush, and that's how it stood in the first half. Nebraska had less than 2 yards a rush.
That was Carpenter on the carry. I think the astounding statistic about Nebraska is that they scored 64 touchdowns, 47 rushing. In 12 games, that's 5 a game.
2nd and 10 arises now for the Cornhuskers. They've made their deepest trip into the Miami end, and again the run is shut down. Russell Maryland, number 67, knocked it down. They call him the Conscience. He rooms with 4 other Miami players. Russell, a very diligent student, and when his roommates aren't, he reminds them to stay in and study, so they call him the Conscience.
Yeah, I think this Miami program is a few guys who wore camouflage uniforms a few years ago gave it a bad reputation, but generally speaking, Jimmy Johnson has turned this program around, not only on the field, but in the classroom.
Big rush. Greg Mark gets him. Undersized, but so quick. Greg Mark, a 240-pound defensive end from Pennsauken, New Jersey, who is a highly recruited high school basketball player. Projected as a college linebacker. They moved into defensive end, and there's the end result. Steve Hills.
That's the 3rd sack of the night by the Miami Hurricanes. They have given Steve Taylor no opportunity. Look at this. We got a field goal attempt. Barrios.
His longest is 48. Greg Barrios. Just to get off the schneid and get on the board. Looks not bad. He got it.
Wow.
A 50-yard field goal by Barrios. So Nebraska's on the board with 9:06 to play in the third quarter. It's 20-3. Longest in the career of Greg Barrios, sophomore kicker from Omaha. And now Drennan kicks off. Chris Drennan knocks it downfield, and Randall Hill, one of the fastest Hurricanes, runs it back and gets it across the 25-yard line out to the 26.
After the field goal is made, Barrios, the left footer, he knows he's hit it good enough. A 50-yard field goal attempt, his longest of the season, his longest personally.
And he hit it right towards the open end, towards the Atlantic, where normally we have the winds coming in.
But still, 3 points.
No fog down here. They've perfect.
They've had 8 possessions, and it produces 3 points against Miami.
Well, it's a start. Cleveland Gary tries to go wide, and the Huskers come hitting and get him back to the 22-yard line. 1st and 10 carry, and there's a 5-yard loss. So the 50-yard field goal apparently ignited the defense as Charles Fryer, Irving's cousin, comes up and makes the play.
This is the one problem that Miami has now in a game where you're in control score-wise and you want to take time off the clock. With the lack of running backs, they really can't consume a great deal of time. Of course, last year they had Mel Bratton until he hurt his knee, and previous year they had Alonzo Highsmith. They had plenty of running backs. This year, this is a one-dimensional offense, and that is throw it.
How well they do that. 8 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Clock running in the 3rd quarter. Walsh in the flat gets his man. Dale Dawkins comes off the flank, and he's cut down on a 2nd down and 14 play. That'll bring up 3rd down now and about 9. Let's go back to Jim, who's on the sidelines with an Olympic medalist.
That's right, Wendy Leanne Williams. She won a bronze medal in the platform diving. Wendy, has your life changed quite a bit since the Olympics in Seoul?
Oh, it's been a whirlwind, but it's been a blast. I've had 3 months off, and I'm ready to go back now.
You're a big Miami fan. You're a junior here at school. You're thrilled about your Hurricanes. Are you going to dive again in Barcelona?
I hope so. I have a year and a half left of eligibility here at UM, and so I'm going to take a day at a time after that.
Okay, Wendy, thank you very much. Let's go back upstairs.
7:30 to go, 3rd quarter, 20-3, Miami in the lead. Here's a long ball in the flat and over. It's caught by Randall Hill. Pulled a rabbit out of the hat and came down with the ball, and then puts another move on.
20-yard catch. Walsh had to throw it quickly. He was pressured once again. The most difficult reception for any receiver to make is one that when he can't see the quarterback throw the football. Well, you can see the pressure by 8 the end. And Hill, well, he just turns his head around. Oh, there it is. Great athletic ability. That ball is thrown behind him, thrown over his head, and he still makes the reception.
He was a defensive back for the Canes last year. Randall Hill, a converted player to wide receiver. Clock still runs. 6:55 to go, 3rd quarter. Handoff Leonard Connolly. He's been in the end zone twice tonight. That time he gets hit head on. A hard stick put on him. Coming up to get him was Jeff Mills, a very rangy outside linebacker from Montclair, New Jersey, number 42.
That last catch by Randall Hill, his first of the night. So they have spread it around. Walsh is now 14 of 30 for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And still the inability to run the ball makes Miami almost face every offensive down with the pass in mind.
2nd and 9, 3 wide receivers in the game. Lone setback is Cleveland Gary. He stays in to block, picks up the blitz. Here's a throw and a catch, but it's not for much yardage. As Etienne, the inside linebacker, made the play for Nebraska. Chudzinski caught the ball.
Don, this offensive line of Miami is just doing a spectacular job. Let's look at Broderick Thomas. He's on O'Neal, 75. O'Neal is excellent pass protector, is not allowed to sack this year, and I think you see a certain amount of frustration at Broderick Thomas. Just follow through. He's an All-American player, one of the best that Nebraska's ever had on defense. He has been no factor tonight.
Miami with a 2-to-1 ratio, pass to run, 31 passes, 15 runs. And almost a 7-to-1 ratio in points. They lead 20-3.
Whoop, there he gets him.
Time Broderick Thomas got through.
That's his first real play of the evening. He bothered Steve Walsh in the first half, but it looks like he's down in the defensive end stance. He gets outside of O'Neal. When Walsh slips, Thomas is right there they'll call that a sack, I'm sure.
And 33, Dana Princeton.
Punt downfield by Croel. Big-time pop put on there, as coming down to make the hit for Miami was Hurley Brown. Their halftime lead. Now it's 20-3, as the last time they had the ball, Nebraska had a 50-yard field goal.
Oh.
Jimmy Jones, the 265-pound defensive tackle, makes the play.
Nebraska has tried everything. Absolutely everything. That time they tried to, watch what happens. They try to pull a guard. Jimmy Jones jumps right inside the block of Bob Sledge 62, and Taylor doesn't even know he's coming. That's the 4th sack of the night by Miami, and they are monsters in the Orange Bowl.
So again, the Nebraska Cornhuskers with Steve Taylor at quarterback have to work from a deficit. 2nd down and 17. Takes the draw, gets it away. Out in the open is Richard Bell, and he's cut down at the 43-yard line.
What a throw. Taylor's still down. I don't know how he threw that ball.
35-yard strike to Richard Bell, and we're not the Miami corner Donald Ellis so fast. That would have been 6.
Watch what happens. He gets absolutely hammered. And matter of fact, it looks like he's off the ground when he throws this thing for the 35-yard completion. Just a spectacular performance there by Steve Taylor. Watch again. Comes from right up the middle. It's Russell Maryland who hits him right in the sternum, and he still gets the pass off.
Now they go 1st and 10, straight ahead, and it's a give. Ryan Carpenter, the fullback, gets to about the 46-yard line before Bill Hawkins, the All-American defensive end, got him down.
John, before that completed pass there for 35 yards, the longest play Nebraska had all evening offensively was a 16-yard run by Ken Clark. This is an offense that is built around the big play, and they've had but basically one on offense this evening, and we just saw it.
Taylor, the quarterback, has done a lot of winning. He's 34-5 as a starter for Nebraska. Roll out on 2nd down and 8. Look at that rush as he gets the ball away somehow. He's not gotten it to his tight end, Milliken, who was going for it there, 43. One of his favorite targets. Miami shut off Milliken.
Steve Taylor, 3 of 13 on the night, 2 interceptions, and hurricanes in his face every time he goes back. Look, there's 4 of them there. He throws that ball totally in desperation. Now you see the tricks in the games. Shannon 22, Crum 49, Carter. That's the 3 linebackers of the 4 out there playing.
They're down and 8 now. Taylor stands in, gets some time, throws a strike. He finally gets Milliken, and his defense is there to cut him down before he can get the 1st down. Making the knockdown at midfield is Maurice Crum.
I think you almost have to go for it here if you're Tom Osborne. He's sending the punting team on the field. Fourth down and 3 or 4.
This doesn't necessarily mean he's going to punt, though. Well, we saw Miami pull one.
Yeah, I agree, but I mean, you need some trick plays. Remember the Fumblerooski? You need something to get it going and get it going in a hurry here.
I remember it. That was in the '84 game, down 17-0. Nebraska scored when the quarterback, Turner Gill, put the ball on the field intentionally, and All-American guard Dean Steinkuhler picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown. Croker can really pound the ball on his punts. That one goes in, and so it comes out on a touchback to the 20-yard line. 50-yard punt by Croker with 2:02 to play in the 3rd quarter. Miami's offense is
at all tonight, and one other point about Miami in the 4th quarter, they outscored their opponents 108-10. So you're not going to beat Miami in the 4th quarter down here in the Orange Bowl.
Walsh on 1st down, throws to Chudzinski, and the Walsh-Chudzinski non-recruit connection hits again out to the 43-yard line. Walsh recruited by just 3 schools, and All-American. Chudzinski by 1.
22-yard catch. Jackson and Blazek were there on the tackle, and that's almost like a run. Very high percentage, very efficient passing by the Miami Hurricanes and Steve Walsh. Johnson on the sideline enjoying this Orange Bowl. Probably not quite as much as he enjoyed last year's Orange Bowl, right?
national championship after the disappointment of the earlier when he went to Tempe and got beat by Penn State. Talked about the turnovers. What, they had 5 interceptions in that game.
Yes,
Roderick Thomas put the rush on, and he hit Steve Walsh to the displeasure of the Miami following.
Well, you can see now Nebraska they are coming with the blitz, and they have to. They have no choice. Thomas has that good outside rush. Great foot speed, 4.5 seconds in the 40. Tom Osborne was not particularly happy with Broderick Thomas in previous seasons. Said in big games he played great, other games he'd take off. He said this year he's played in every game, been a real factor. And I repeat, the Big 8 disappoints you. They run the other way.
Second down and 10. The give goes, and weaving his way up the middle is that elusive Leonard Connolly, who's out to the 50. A gain of 8 yards. Talking about Roderick Thomas, I've heard it said, Trump, that he's one of the best linebackers in the country, pro or college, and I heard him say it. Told me he's as good as Lawrence Taylor or Cornelius Bennett. We haven't seen that evidence yet.
That's a pretty strong boast there.
Says he's as good as any of them. I'll tell you one thing, he's a class kid. What he does off the field is tremendous on his own. He lectures at schools on drug abuse. He comes from an area of Houston, Texas, where he's seen a lot of kids he grew up with perish because of drugs. He's a stand-up guy off the field. And on, as right now, Broderick Thomas makes the stop on Leonard Connolly.
Don, there's certainly no question that Broderick Thomas is going to be one of the top picks in the draft when he comes out. There's no question about that at all. Because you can do so many things with it. Pass rushing, defensive end. He's a bigger Cornelius Bennett, who is not a bad player for the Buffalo Bills.
He's hoping Coach Shula, who's in the NBC studios today, will draft him. He'd like to play for Miami. Maybe he'll line up next to Uncle Mike with the Bears. Mike Singletary's his uncle, as we mentioned.
Walsh now 16 of 33 for the night.
Incomplete on 1st and 10 as the game clock is down to 19 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter.
This is an offense, this Miami offense, that normally is a very short yardage in the passing, although tonight they have averaged 14 yards per completion. That's better than their season's average.
Now Mark Blazik is back in the secondary. Sergeant Blazik, they call him. An academic All-American. Now he comes out. Blazik is a sergeant in the Nebraska Army National Guard. That does it all. Losing his footing was normally short-footed Cleveland Gary. It's a grass turf here at the Orange Bowl, one of the best playing fields in the country.
Yeah, and now especially since the Miami Dolphins no longer play here. They play up at Joe Robbie Stadium, so this field is generally kept very, very well. And again, there was good pressure there by Broderick Thomas. They're pretty much turning him loose in this nickel package now that Nebraska has been using. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they got 5 defensive backs in the ball game again. This has worked pretty good for Nebraska so far this season.
7th play of the drive coming up. 3rd down and 10 for Walsh. Here's a blitz. They pick it up, and he goes long. Randall Hill's out there, picked off by Fryer at the 25-yard line. Charles Fryer moving nicely on the ball. He's a 4.4 sprinter in the 40. And he made the play on the ball in the open field, and Steve Walsh with an unusual number of interceptions tonight.
Lawrence Pete and the defensive line of Nebraska, good pressure up front. Charlie McBride and his group have done a great job. You see him from the outside. There's also Thomas. This ball is slightly underthrown. Prior there to make the interception. Steve Walsh's 3rd of the evening. But once again, it's the long...
Good block. Gives Taylor time to operate, but now he runs out of it. He is a thing to marvel at in the open field as he weaves away, takes out an official, and gets ahead for 13 yards. 1st down. That concludes the 3rd quarter with the score Miami 20, Nebraska 3.
Here, they've outscored their opponents 108 to 10 in the 4th quarter and shut out 9 of their 11 opponents in the 4th quarter.
In the last 9 games, they outscored their opposition 84 to 3 in the final 15 minutes. Jimmy Jones and Hawkins come and bang Brian Carpenter down at the 38-yard line. On a 1st and 10 play, he didn't gain anything.
Don, I think one of the reasons why, as you look at the numbers through 3 quarters, Miami gained just 53 yards in that 3rd quarter, but it's total domination, even though time of possession by Nebraska favors the Cornhuskers.
Football's most useless statistic, time of possession. More losers lead with time of possession than any other area of stats.
All right, speak strongly here. Something you believe in.
It's useless. It doesn't mean anything. Dana Brinson gets a flat pass and is knocked down by Donald Ellis.
Don, the one thing that amazed me about watching the Miami Hurricanes the last 2 years at practice down here for the Orange Bowl is that they condition on every single play. When when I asked Jimmy Johnson about it, he says, I think my offensive and defensive linemen are skill position athletes. So when a receiver runs 40 yards down the field, so do the offensive linemen. And this may be one of the most best conditioned football teams you can find in college football.
Well, like the Dolphins, they train them this year round.
Blitz. But no chance.
Greg Mark gets the sack. 5th sack for the Miami defense tonight. 55th of the season. In 12 games, a record total for Miami players.
If you look at this from behind the defense, you can see everyone is coming. Shannon from the outside, Mark from the inside, Hawkins is there, Maryland is there. They brought them all. Look at Carter, right? See, they consume everybody, and then they've got these people coming from the outside. Hawkins, not a big defensive end, but a good outside pass rusher, beats Sledge and gets the sack.
Miami's going after every punt. They've gotten one already and very nearly more. As Pee Wee Smith lets it roll, it'll go down to the 33-yard line. And there, Steve Walsh and the Hurricane offense comes out again. A 37-yard punt with 12:46 to play, and the count holds Miami 20, Nebraska 3. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy and Jim Gray at the 55th Orange Bowl. 12:46 to play in the game. Miami in the second half not getting the same results they did in the first half when everything went right. Interception, punt, interception. As right now, the Canes are set to go 1st and 10 at their 33-yard line, holding to a 17-point lead.
Walsh again with an audible, Don.
He changes plays as much as any quarterback in college football. He has that option as Cleveland Gary, who's been pretty well contained tonight by the Nebraska defense, makes the stop. Now let's go back down to the sideline. Jim?
Don, we're here with Tom Keller here. His son Dennis plays backup tight end for Miami. Tom's been an official in the NFL for 29 years. You were the replay official in the Fog Bowl. Tell us what happened there in Chicago. You were on the phone the whole half with Pete Rozelle.
Really, Jim, I didn't do too much of replay, and I was more a relay man. I was having a line with the sideline. They talked to me. I'd pass on information to Don White, and he was talking to the commissioner back in New York.
You ever seen anything like that in all your years?
Never in all my years, and I've been in some whoop-a-doos.
Let's go back upstairs. Trumpy says he never called a holding penalty on you.
Oh, don't you believe that?
Ball stands in, throws and makes the connection to Randy Bethel, and he is knocked down at the 40. Tom Kelleher, the replay official, so he didn't see anything either up in the box. I was waiting for the Hounds of the Baskervilles to come bounding out of that fog.
Looked like that game was played in Transylvania. Hicks that time on the tackle.
Eerie setting on Sunday on NBC Sports. The American Conference Championship game will be played at Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio. The Bengals and the Buffalo Bills. Their second meeting of the season. The winner to go to Super Bowl 23, also to be seen on NBC Sports January 22nd. It will be played just to the north of here in North Dade County at Joe Robbie Stadium.
Nebraska certainly showing blitz, but time expired on the 25-second clock.
Dead ball, illegal delay, offensive team.
And I think the one saving grace about tonight's performance by Nebraska has been, generally speaking, their defense. Charlie McBride, the defensive coordinator, and his team have played very, very well. I don't think anybody in the state of Nebraska or the coaching staff could have expected this offense through 3 quarters to produce just 3 points. And that came after a turnover, interception. Then it was 3 downs, and they tried for the field goal, a 50-yarder.
Coming into this game, the Nebraska D is coming off 2 of its best showings against 2 of the best teams in the Big 8. They beat Colorado 7-0, then beat Oklahoma 7-3. Pass in the flat. Is it caught? It appears to be. It looks like it'll go for a first down as Randall Hill celebrates his good work. Steve Walsh just broke Joe Namath's Orange Bowl record. That was his 38th pass attempt. They've almost been exclusively a passing team the last half of the season. They just completely gone away from the run, Miami.
See, this time Nebraska drops back. Walsh reads it correctly. You only need 1 foot down in bounds. Hill makes the catch. Or does he? That foot looks like it's out of bounds, but without the benefit or burden of replay, it goes as a catch.
Gary gets the ball, and he's ahead for a first down. Big bruising Cleveland Gary. 6'2", 225. Will rush for over 500 yards and caught 57 passes.
There's the numbers for his new record. Who did you say his record he broke? Joe Namath?
Steve Walsh did for most Orange Bowl attempts.
Blazek that time on the tackle.
Going for passing yardage record. Going for bonus as Leonard Connolly runs the ball down to the 37-yard line. Mike Croel knocked him down along with Randall Jopman as Coach Osborne has had some of his backup backers in. We have 9:55 to play. The clock is running in the 4th quarter at the 1989 Orange Bowl in Miami. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy and Jim in Miami. Different time, different players. That night, Miami prevailed by a single point to beat one of the best college football teams ever, the '83 Nebraska team.
Don, I think we just saw a promo there for Johnny Carson and David Letterman. Did Johnny Carson go to Nebraska?
He did. Phi Gamma Delta. They're very proud of him.
Yeah. David Letterman went to Ball State, Indiana, so he's not celebrating or lamenting any win or loss on Bowl Day. Slowed down considerably.
I believe Johnny Carson just made a $500,000 contribution to a scholarship fund or something like that. 3rd down and 10 comes out. Over the middle throw, and it's caught by Leonard Connolly. And he's down to the 23-yard line.
Leonard Hicks was right next to him. 18-yard pickup. Conley has had a big night tonight. He's made some key catches in those 2 touchdown receptions. Again, Nebraska coming with the blitz. Watch where this is. I'm telling you, Hicks is right there. Conley somehow makes the tackle. Conley makes the reception, and Blazek on the tackle. And again, Miami's driving exclusively through the pass.
The pass has taken them down to the 23-yard line, where it's 1st and 10. Here's Connolly looking for room to run, and he finds some. Not big enough to run interference for himself. He's got a dart and dash, wait for the opening, and then sprint through it. Bernie Kosar, a close friend of Steve Walsh, and Walsh was saying it's Kosar is going to have a lot to say in his decision whether or not he'll turn pro after this season, whether Steve Walsh will.
There's the numbers right now. I would imagine the only thing he doesn't like is the interceptions.
Picked off 3 times, twice by cornerback Charles Fryer. Lee Garcia down over the ball at center. Sullivan and Handy the guards. Timing throw, end zone. Dawkins, and he loses the ball at the 1-yard line.
Perfectly thrown.
Dale Dawkins on a timing pattern, trying to run off to that high lofted ball.
Han Lewis was the man in coverage, number 5 for Nebraska. Quick 3-step drop. 1, 2, 3, put it up. And you get nailed. But it was Lawrence Pete who got down to his legs. I think this is catchable. He let it get to him. That ball is catchable. That was perfectly thrown. This is the 11th play of the drive coming up here. Excuse me, 10th play of the drive coming up here. First time we've had a 10-play drive this evening.
Yes, it is. 3rd down comes up now. Flat pass. And there's going to be markers down as we had 2 defenders hit the receiver. Cleveland Gary.
Han Lewis was the closest man. Very slow in getting up, but I'm not sure I blame him. Being the leading rusher and receiver and touchdown scorer, he never walks off the field.
Ball was touched behind the line of scrimmage. Not half pass interference when the pass was touched behind the line of scrimmage.
I didn't see the ball tipped.
I got a hit pointer.
I did not see the ball tipped. Let's see if we can see this ball hit. Walsh, when he threw, doesn't touch anybody. Doesn't touch anybody, but the officiating crew has done an excellent job tonight. There's no question about that. The gentleman out of the Southeast Conference. So Huerta in for a field goal attempt.
And they're dedicating this performance, as you know, Trump, to Richard Long of Athens, Georgia, who is for 20 years a fellow official in the Southeastern Conference. He passed away today, Richard Long. Huerta hits the field goal. It is up and good. And they get 23-3.
When this penalty was called,
Johnson was exercised after that last call. There's no question, as Jim Gray said, he told his team at halftime he wants a shutout. He wants to win big and send a message. He claims he has the best team in the country, but Notre Dame is in position to be voted the national championship.
I would certainly think that Miami and Notre Dame, or Notre Dame and Miami, would certainly be the preseason #1 team for next year. No question about that. 1 and 2. Probably Notre Dame #1 with the manner in which they won today, but Jimmy Johnson is always sending a message to someone.
Yeah, running the ball back is Richard Bell as he takes it up the sideline and gets it across the 30. I think Notre Dame's going to have the best team they've ever had, including Rockne, Leahy, and anybody else that's ever coached there. Ever.
Well, Jimmy Johnson.
Look what they have coming back, and some of their best players didn't play this season. 2 guys were hurt.
Jimmy Johnson said that he didn't expect this team to be 10-1 in 1988. He thought it'd be 8-3, 9-2, and feels that next year, with or without Steve Walsh.
17 guys off the Miami team of last year signed pro contracts. 12 were drafted.
5 signed. 9 are still on NFL rosters. Look, they're still blitzing him. They're still coming after him, Don.
Ken Clark and Rod Carter connect there as Clark carried and Carter hit. It's interesting, the last regular season game for Notre Dame and Miami next season is Notre Dame against Miami here in the Orange Bowl.
Miami and Notre Dame have had some real tussles, have they not, in the last 2 or 3 years?
Well, it's been utter destruction and devastation usually. In the recent years, Miami routing Notre Dame, the Faust teams. Before that, Notre Dame used to blow apart Miami.
So did everybody else.
They almost gave up the program.
Absolutely. Steve Taylor, that time on the run, I don't know how many people are aware of this, but the guy who was really almost single-handedly given the credit for turning this program around is not Howard Schnellenberger, it's Lou Saban. He's the guy who recruited Jim Kelly out of the Pennsylvania area, as Nebraska's going with a hurry-up offense.
With 6:43 to play, trailing 23-3. Steve Taylor with the drop. Here comes Hawkins, who levels him. He does get the ball away, makes a connection for a gain of about 5 yards. Those were blood yards for Steve Taylor, as he is just getting wiped out once he releases the ball.
Richard Bell on the
hit by Hawkins
on the catch, and Nebraska now on the last page of the offensive playbook, going with the hurry-up offense with 6:16 to go in the game.
2nd and 5. Greg Mark run him down. No intentional grounding, and Mark takes him down even though he released the ball. A late hit, no flag. And Taylor is slow getting up.
I think the referee is going over to his people to see if in fact they're not going to call anything. They're not going to call anything.
Boy, Johnson wants a big score bad, doesn't he?
Look at the foot speed of Greg Mark here, though. He beats Glazer 70. Taylor can't get away from him. And then he continues to wrestle him to the ground.
End around, and breaking into the open field is Richard Bell, and he's knocked down at the 40-yard line. A first down play on a 3rd and 5. Richard Bell gains 14 yards.
And again, they go right to the line of scrimmage. Now, how often do people in Nebraska ever see the Cornhuskers in this situation? I'm sure it's been years.
Out pattern, a connection is made, and coming down to make the reception for the Cornhuskers of Nebraska is Chip Bay.
We got second, third, and fourth teamers in there. Those are the Blades brothers.
Benny and Brian. They had a couple of great seasons. Brian with the Seahawks and Benny with the Lions.
Flag down.
Dana Brinson was the receiver on the play with 5:37 to play.
Oh, Johnson's really lobbying. He's working that official. Throw the flag. They're holding my guys.
Illegal shift, offensive backfield, 5 yards.
Look at it.
Who's losing this game?
Yeah, someone point him in the direction of the scoreboard. Jimmy, 23-3. Nebraska and Notre Dame already won the national title. And Osborne always looks calm, even though he's down 23-3.
Another extended drive for Nebraska. They did not have any of those in the first half. This is the 7th play. Out pattern and diving for the ball and making the reception is Jamie Warden, number 31. Game clock ticking down. 5:10 to go in this 55th Orange Bowl. Second down and 9 comes up for the Cornhuskers of Nebraska.
Hawkins got him.
Hawkins gets the QB, Steve Taylor, just as his arm came forward.
Morgan Gregory was the intended receiver. Taylor has gotten up off this Orange Bowl turf an awful lot tonight. Watch Hawkins right between the shoulder blades. They have been all over Steve Taylor. Very little pass protection tonight.
Steve Taylor was born in Fresno, played at Lincoln High School in San Diego. He broke all of Marcus Allen's quarterbacking records. Marcus Allen was a terrific quarterback in high school.
6th sack of the night for Miami. And Steve Taylor's not going to forget this game, and Jimmy Johnson is...
Jimmy Johnson was in this exercise last year in the national championship game.
Don, I think you're right. He does not want Nebraska to score a touchdown. Jimmy Johnson on the sideline just called his entire defense over there. 4th down and 14. Look at it. He's in there. He's got them all there. Whatever he's telling them. He does not want Tom Osborne and Nebraska to score a touchdown. And this is the stuff that I think pretty much passes the legend of Jimmy Johnson around the country. He's a terrific coach. He's a great guy to be around. But I think when people see that on television, their image of Jimmy Johnson is not an image that most coaches want to have. I don't think Jimmy Johnson cares what other people think, but I think a lot of people think that at times he's a used car salesman. I don't think that. I think he's earned that championship ring that he's got on.
Well, he's 51-9 as a head coach here at Miami. That's what they brought him in for. Not to win friends, to win ball games. He's done that. Miami. Wrong ball, wrong side, though, as the rush was on again.
Yep. Miami comes with the blitz. It was intended for Morgan Gregory. Johnson comes with the blitz. That's what he wanted. There's a terrific coach. I'm not joking. What this guy has done with this program and the players that he's gotten down here and the manner in which he's...
Well, it was a good program when he came in. They won a national championship the year he came in. And they won in '84, in the January of '84, and then he came in the season of '84. Miami, Florida, City of Light, January 2nd, 1989, and the 55th Orange Bowl, now with 4:29 left to play in it. And the Miami Hurricanes leading 23-3 to the dismay of the winning coach, Jimmy Johnson. That's not enough. Too much is not enough for Coach Johnson.
Well, unfortunately, I think Jimmy brings a lot of this on himself. You can't find a number or a stat anywhere in the Miami program that says that Jimmy Johnson is not a good coach and can't compete against big name teams, against ranked teams, his teams are extraordinary. Look at that. And against unranked teams, his teams are prepared every single time. But the gross impression of Jimmy Johnson is that he lobbies too much. He says too much. He's always pleading his case, and then not really pouring it on here, but not certainly letting up here, leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Second down and 8. Let's see what he has Welsh doing. He's going to keep firing late in the game with a 20-point lead. Long ball to Randall Hill, and it's knocked away. Back to Han Lewis.
Now, is that unbelievable?
And he wants more.
And you don't hear anybody in this stadium complaining.
He's turned it into a house of winners. As we were pointing out earlier, this program was almost gone. They were ready to bring it under. That was before Schnellenberger, actually, when Lou Saban was here.
Absolutely. He recruited Jim Kelly, and that started the string of great quarterbacks. They've all turned out to be first-round draft choices, and I think even with Testaverde's bad season this year, they're all going to be great contributors in the NFL.
Testaverde's going to have a lot of good ones. Fred Highsmith.
He gets the first down.
Willie Griffin makes the knockdown. Programs are built to win, too. Most of Miami's players are redshirts, virtually all of them. In fact, there was big news. They were pointing out that Charles Farms, their starting free safety, is the first true freshman to start for Miami in 4 years.
Don, that basically is the way that major college football is played, with the exception of Notre Dame. I think they're the only major college team that I know of that unless you are truly injured, you don't redshirt.
First and 10 with 3:10 to go as Walsh takes a drop, quick out pattern. He makes the connection. Huey Smith comes down with the ball.
I'll tell you another interesting thing about Nebraska's program. Nebraska's program, as you look at the Miami Hurricane quarterbacks that have come through here, Kelly, Kosar, Testaverde, and now Walsh, you can look at those numbers and they're shocking. Nebraska has a freshman football program. They're a bunch of walk-ons in a lot of instances. They play 5 games a year. They have their own coaches, their own equipment, their own locker room, their own trainers, everything completely separate from the varsity program. As Erickson's now in for the Hurricanes. And that's one of the reasons why I think Nebraska is year in and year out such a strong program. They begin learning and playing a lot as freshmen.
Well, the pride in the program in the state's unbelievable in Nebraska's football program. And with reason, as pointed out, for 19 straight years, they finished every season for 19 straight years ranked in the top 10.
And of course,
this is going to take them on they're going to be on the bubble after this one.
Yes. The other thing is a third of this Nebraska program are walk-ons. They almost survive on walk-ons because it's a state school.
Well, you're limited to 95 scholarships now. You can't give out 50.
Yeah, but they got
a year.
You got 135 or 40 guys dressed over there on the sideline. I mean, a lot of them are walk-ons. Mike Croel that time makes the tackle. And I don't think anybody could have expected this to happen.
2:43 to go, and the punter, Kalal, comes down the field for the Hurricanes. Greg Erickson, a very highly regarded redshirt sophomore from West Palm Beach, is in the game quarterbacking the Hurricanes. Steve Walsh is out. Erickson, he was throwing with under 3 minutes to play in the game. Following, as we have 2:43 left to play, there's Steve Walsh. And there's a lot of speculation, as pointed out earlier. Would this be his final game for the Hurricanes? Will he indeed elect to go to the NFL draft, graduating in May, which he's in position to do? Handoff goes on an end around to Dale Dawkins, who runs it inside the 30 and down to the 28-yard line.
ATN makes the tackle, and this Erickson kid is no real drop-off from Steve Walsh. There was some feeling at the beginning of the season that Erickson was going to be the starter. Walsh had a great spring and off of his Orange Bowl performance last year, and basically his performance of last season, Jimmy Johnson stayed with him, but Erickson has completed 54% of his passes, 6 touchdowns and 1 interception. He's the backup quarterback, has a stronger arm than Steve Walsh.
When you look at Walsh, you look at one number, 23-1, 2 numbers. It's his starting record. the starting quarterback. It's the 25th game. Only been beaten once. 1:57 to go in the game now. 23-3 is the score, Miami.
And that one loss was to the 1988 NCAA Division I football champion in South Bend. By the way, as a graduate of Notre Dame 1964, I know this was a big day for you, son. Congratulations.
Well, they've been a while, but you got to salute him. Parsegan said when he retired, I asked him what he's most proud of. He said, we won and we never cheated. Colts can say the same thing. Swing pass goes to Highsmith, who gets inside the 20 and down to the 18-yard line.
DeHaan Lewis on the tackle. One other note about Nebraska, and we pretty much beat them to death here tonight, and I apologize for that, but they just haven't played. Tough to find something to compliment. They've lost 2 games this year. Both have been on grass. And the Big 8 is all AstroTurf. I wonder if it has an effect on this football team. They started slow against UCLA. They started slow tonight. I don't know what it is.
1:17 to go. Pitch back goes to Highsmith, who runs it inside to the 15-yard line. We're talking about Johnson running up the score, but it should also, as you pointed out earlier, Trump, the academics of the Miami football program have skyrocketed since he came in. These players are now graduating, which they weren't doing under previous coaching administrations. And the academics have gone way up. Walsh is a dean's list student. And now the Budweiser outstanding players of tonight's game in the Orange Bowl are from Miami of Florida quarterback Steve Walsh, and from the Cornhuskers of Nebraska, cornerback Charles Fryer. Anheuser-Busch will donate $1,000 in the name of each MVP to SAD, Students Against Drunk Driving. End zone throw, as Miami's looking for more, even with Erickson.
Dawkins misses. Now I think the only real drama left in his football game is Tom Osborne going to be offended?
What do you think he'll be? I think he'd be very upset.
Well, then there's generally a handshake at the end of this game.
We'll track that every step of the way. Well, procession across the field.
But this is unhealthy. This is not right. This is not good. This offends a great many people, and there's no reason for Jimmy Johnson to offend them. Tom Osborne has admitted it. I learned a lot from Miami back in '83 because we got better foot speed. He may also learn something from Miami tonight.
They'll play again. That's one thing. There's always another game. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. The coordinating producer of NBC Football is Ted Nathanson. The telecast of tonight's game has been produced by George Finkel, directed by John Gonzalez. Championship Monday produced by Tom Roy, directed by Bucky Guntz. Replay producer David Hoffman. Technical directors Lenny Stucker and Richard Sansevier. And a reminder, on the West Coast following this game, stay tuned for local news. And our thanks to NBC statistician Elliot Kalb as we come down the stretch now. 23 seconds left to go, and Miami in 3 years under Jimmy Johnson, the last 3 years, has the best record in football.
Absolutely. And he may have taken some
Any
of this,
league.
And he may have taken some of this sting out here because on 4th down, they went for it. And now Nebraska has the football, so at least there was that little bit of saving grace. I just hate to see Jimmy Johnson do this, especially a year after he wins the national championship, and here comes the Gatorade. He got baptized last year and it got him a national championship ring. They're hiding
They should have got him earlier to cool him off. The coach needs some icing down.
Yes, I agree with you.
Thanks to our spotters, Ken Lee and Chris Boma. To Don the Fox Bryant, SID for Nebraska. Larry Wall and Rich Dalrymple of Miami. Drop back throw as Steve Taylor takes a look, runs out of trouble. Here comes more though. Clark is closing in, and Taylor wisely bails out with just 14 seconds to play. He wants that ball back, Coach Johnson.
Time for one more shot at it. That's all we wanted. One more shot at it. We'll see on that. There's Tom Osborne.
It's been a tough 5 years. He's had a lot of wins, as Nebraska does every year, but that defeat that cost his team a national championship in '84 lingers on, and he hoped to get some measure of avenging that loss tonight. Not the case. Never in it. Rolling out, running with the ball is Jerry Godowski, the backup quarterback, and 8 seconds remain in the 1989 Orange Bowl. Our thanks to the Orange Bowl committee, to President Jim Barker, President-elect Tom Woods, and all the people who make this a real football celebration in South Florida. I'll tell you this about Miami. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it is a great place to come and visit if you're coming. It is a great place to bring your family.
You're right.
We've been doing it for 10 years.
51 weeks a year, we hear nothing but bad about Miami, and we come the 52nd week, and it erases all the bad things. We leave with a great impression.
We hope to be talking to Jimmy Johnson after the game. Downfield throw and an interception. Nicely done by Charles Farms.
Oh, they got him. They got him. He runs out on the field, but they got him.
Here comes Coach Johnson. Out quickly to center field. Yep. Coach Osborne, under guard, is apparently searching him out to shake his hand. I'll tell you what, it would make news if the two coaches started swinging after the game. Not the case. Coach Osborne in defeat, gentlemen, and he shakes the hand of the victor, Jimmy Johnson. Here's Jim Gray. Jim?
Thank you, Don. Coach, who's number one in your opinion?
Well, I have a feeling that we gave Notre Dame number one when we didn't kick the extra point back in mid-season. I think there may be a difference of opinion as far as who the best football team in the country is.
How badly did you want this shutout? You told me at halftime you wanted it.
Yeah, I really felt like we could shut them out, especially the way our defense was playing, but we threw the interception and we gave them field position, and so they got the 50-yard field goal.
Were you trying to send a message? Did you want to show that your team was the best in the country?
Yeah, that's the thing that I talked to our team about prior to the game, and yesterday I said, we really don't care what happens in these other games. The number one thing that we want to do is show the country that we're the best team in the country, and with as much youth as we have on this team, as much inexperience, that means that we got a chance to come back next year.
Coach, thanks so much. Congratulations. With us now is Steve Walsh. Steve, you had just a terrific game. 22 yards short of the record, the Orange Bowl record. Disappointed you didn't get it?
Well, not really. I'm just glad we won the game. We made the plays when we had to, and we put enough points on the board for our defense to stop them.
Everybody across the country wants to know, was this your last game with Miami?
Well, I don't know. I really didn't feel I didn't play very well today, and that's a big step, and I don't know if I'm ready for it, but I'll make a decision in a few months here.
What's going to be the riding factor in that decision?
I think it's just a matter of who was interested in me and maybe where I'd go in the draft, but I'm really not worried about it. I'm very comfortable about Miami, and I'd love the chance to come back and win another national championship.
Finally, Steve, do you feel your team is number one?
Well, in the polls, it's not going to say number one, but we really believe that we're the best team in the country. We didn't play very well in Notre Dame, and Notre Dame played great against the big teams they played, and it doesn't work out, but number 2 ranking isn't too bad.
Steve, congratulations, Steve.
Yes.
Let's go back upstairs. Don?
Okay, Jim, there goes the victor, Coach Johnson. Last year they carried him off on a shield with his hands raised high. His first national championship. His ball club might have been even better this year, but he came a point away, as he said, at Notre Dame, and the Irish will reign as number 1 for the 88 season. But Miami will be back as a force again next year. Will Steve Walsh be back to quarterback them? That is the interesting dilemma that Johnson has to face. I don't think he will myself. I just get indications he's thinking of making the move. There's too many millions out there, and there's the threat of injury, but we'll wait and see. So the final score is Miami 23, Nebraska 3, as the Hurricanes dominated from the outset. Number 2 meeting number 6 on Championship Monday on NBC Sports. As Coach Jimmy Johnson.
Then pressured out of the pocket. Slack from the sideline, throws it out of bounds. The intended receiver was Vincent Harris.
But that's a situation where some quarterbacks, and I'm going to say the majority of quarterbacks, are forced into a sack, because that was really defensed pretty well by Florida State, and it took Reggie Slack's athletic ability to get to the outside and keep from getting sacked. He stayed alive, and as a result, they'll have a 2nd and 10 rather than a 2nd and maybe 17 or 18.
Auburn 1984, Al Del Greco kicked a field goal to beat Michigan 9-7. And then last year, the 16-16 tie, Win Lyle's field goal with 1 second left. Stanley stopped at the 37-yard line, a minimal gain, a negligible one at best.
screen pass that didn't happen. The screen men never got out in front of it.
Pickup of a yard, 3rd down and 9 now with 2:10 and counting left in the game. 3rd and 9 from the 38.
You might say this is a big play.
Yeah. And Slack slings it out of bounds. Intended for Greg Taylor, and he was covered very well on the play. It's 4th down. So 4th and 9 from the 38. Again, each team with 2 timeouts, and Pat Sullivan is now with the clock stopped. You saw Sullivan signaling for the timeout, so they're going to use one here. And it simply means if they don't make it, they can only stop it once more. And if they don't make it, they'll be celebrating in Tallahassee. 1:52 to play. It's come down to this now. 4th and 9, Auburn at its own 38-yard line. 1:52 to play.
Got to pick one of the 2 guys, wouldn't you say, Dan, that have been open for you? Walter Reeves, the all-conference tight end number 86, or Lawyer Tillman, who all of a sudden has livened up this ball game here in the second half.
During the course of the evening, the guy that's been there with the most regularity has been Walter Reeves. That'd be my choice.
Taylor in motion on 4th and 9. And Slack throws. He has a man open. 1st down, Freddie Wagan. At the Seminole 45-yard line.
And the best of all worlds, of course, in college football, I guess you stop the clock when you move the chains, but good effort by Wakeard, the leading receiver for Auburn.
The guy who's been there forever, Freddie Wagan, just running a sideline out pattern and given all sorts of room by Neon Dion. And the all-world cornerback clearly asleep at the switch there. Why he gave Wagan all that room, I'll never know.
They dump it off to Danley, and he tries to get out of bounds to conserve some time, and does, but it's a loss on the play. Back to his own 48-yard line.
Isn't it something how on a 4th and long play, Auburn challenges the best cornerback in the country in Deion Sanders. And Deion Sanders was asleep at the switch. There's no other way to describe a guy with his abilities giving that much room on the corner.
That man you just saw told us he would do exactly that yesterday. Pat Dye said, well, we have to go at him. We respect him as a defensive back, but we are going to challenge him tomorrow. And they just have with a big one.
Prime time was watching Sermonette from the 50. Under pressure, and it's dropped at the 50-yard line by Wright. Really no damage there, as it turns out. Had he caught it, he'd have been tackled right away, and he was just at the line of scrimmage anyway.
He would have lost 3 or 4 if he'd have caught it. How about Reggie Slack and his athletic ability to avoid the rush? I saw no way that he wasn't going to go down under that pressure. See, Pat knows that they're better off dropping that ball. That play was going nowhere.
Dinkins and Higgins made that happen.
Oh,
with a big rush.
How did Slack stay alive? I don't know.
This drive starting at the Auburn 4. 3rd and 15. And Slack finds Taylor, and he's out of bounds at the 40-yard line. He's 4 yards short of the 1st down. So the ball game again at hand here on 4th and 4 coming up from the 40.
But he did stop the clock.
And 1:25.
Auburn down with 1 timeout. So a very key play.
Yeah, they don't get a 1st down and the clock will stop again.
He could have tried to turn it up and get that 1st down, but if he missed it, then they would have been in a lot more trouble than they are right now.
Here we go.
4th and 4 at the 40. Again, the pressure is on. Slack throws, hits Tillman, and Lawyer Tillman a 1st down at the 33-yard line. Deion Sanders with the coverage.
Clutch stuff by the big wide receiver Tillman. Deion Sanders in a zone defense at the time.
Yeah, that's
Tillman just passed off to him. So you can't blame him totally for it. No, you got to play him tight when they need 4 yards.
Sanders really has the coverage on the outside receiver, Freddie Wagan. That was really quite an effort by Sanders coming up and closing in a hurry.
As it turns out, to make the tackle. First down, dumped over the middle. The catch is made by Danley at the 29-yard line. Again, Auburn has only one timeout. 2nd and 5 from the 29-yard line. Slack under duress.
He has a presence. He has his wits about him. Nothing shakes this guy up.
3rd and 5 at the 29-yard line. Slack over the middle, too high. Intended for Sheen. So here we go. As Auburn tries to keep it alive. They've done it twice successfully on 4th down. It is 4th down and 6.
Now, one thing that guy has avoided last year's scenario.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if he kicks the field goal the last time, they're in a position when they're down here. The possibility would be of a game-tying field goal. And you can say, well, boy, I know he doesn't want to be in that same situation as last year, but I don't know. If the alternative is losing,
sure,
I'll take the tie.
I don't know whether it was calculated or not, but it might have forced Florida State to play a different kind of defense than they're playing right now also.
4th and 6 at the 29. And Slack, can he do it again? The catch is made at the 23-yard line. Taylor. First down.
Move the chains and stop the clock.
Well, I know one thing. We've already had to vote for a Most Valuable Player award. I want my ballot back if Auburn wins this football game.
I might want it back whether they lose.
Because what a drive by Reggie Slack. Look at that catch. Greg Taylor in the air, holds on. Oh, this is some drive.
1st and 10 from the 22. This drive started at their own 4-yard line. Slack, it's dropped, incomplete, intended for Wasden, and that took 5 seconds.
Very difficult catch for Wasden to try to hold on to, that ball being behind him, but you're right, a vicious blow.
2nd and 10. Slack throwing, knocked down.
Oh, that looked like interference initially. Oh,
Wake on.
You be the judge. That's Derek Dodge coming in from behind. Oh, that's interference. Oh, and you just see that on the board right here. Derek Dodge gets away with manslaughter. They'll be talking about this one in Alabama for a while.
3rd and 10 from the 22. Slack picked off by Primetime.
What timing?
Neon Dion with his name up in lights.
To do a little jawing. And Lawyer Tillman just a little late, taking a break on the football. Deion Sanders looked more like the receiver than Lawyer Tillman. Really a pretty good throw. And Tillman doesn't come back to the football.
And it's 10:55 Eastern, so still 5 minutes left in prime time.
Sanders with his 6th interception of the year. Great athlete, great sprinter. We talked about. Watch number 28. He is Derek Dodge. Coming right over Wagan. Wham! The back of the head. The ball's not there.
That should have been called, folks. That should have been called, and wasn't.
And so the game will end as Ferguson hovers up. And again, a scoreless second half, but more action than I think any of us have ever seen in a scoreless 30 minutes.
Two solid football teams, well coached. Each of them got in trouble. Each of them battled back. Pain and the agony of the defeat. Give him credit. Deion Sanders was there when he had to be.
I think exemplary play tonight by the two quarterbacks, Reggie Slack and by Chip Ferguson. These two played a big-time game tonight.
All right, let's get a word from Lynn Swan.
Okay, thank you very much, Pat. First of all, when you had a chance to go for the field goal, you're behind by 6 points. You decided to go for the touchdown.
We really, if we kick the field goal, then we got to kick a field goal plus score a touchdown to win. If we score a touchdown, we're going to win anyway. So what the heck?
Was last year's tie on your mind? The six? Not at all? The pass interference, or what was not called as pass interference, Wiggins in the goal line.
You know, I mean, you can't go back to one play. You know, they've got a great football team. I'm just proud that our kids hung in there and fought and showed the kind of character that they've got, because we certainly didn't play very well. And there's obviously not a very well played football game on our part, particularly offensively. Defensively, we played about as well as we can play now. They moved the football and had some success, but we expected that. We kept them out of the end zone, and you know, the way our offense put our defense in the hole tonight, we're mighty lucky to get out of here with 13 points.
Coach, thank you very much.
Great football game, and Coach Bowden and his staff and his team deserves all the credit in the world.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Al.
That's a classy man right there.
Oh, yeah. A good look there at not wanting to beef about a call or a non-call. That's why everybody in college football likes Pat Dye.
Yep, and he's always been a stand-up guy. We've done games in the past with him where he's been involved in controversial endings on the losing side, but never ducks the issue. Crew headed by Kenny Wolf and Craig Janoff. Our guys upstairs here, Malibu Kelly Hayes, George Hill. And guys, it's been a slice. Monday Night Football comes to New Orleans, 13-7. Good ball game.
An excellent game.
An exciting ball game, and it had a little bit of everything tonight. I think we saw two well-coached, fundamentally sound teams, and I think it was all capped off for me by Pat Dye at the end of the ball game, who exhibited more class than I've seen in a long time, wrapped up into one tight little package.
And prime time.
If I'm Pat Dye, I'm hot about that interference.